This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Yes, we're back with all of you. Good morning, all you happy people out there. Another edition of 757 Saturday Sports Talk, exclusively on Cova Sports TV. Well, we say exclusively on Cova Sports TV in terms of the YouTube channel, but we're also all over the web through different platforms such as Facebook, IG, Hatfield Sports 2K4, Twitter, X at Hatfield Sports, VirginiaPreps.com, Apple, Spotify, as well. We welcome you all. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on our Cova Sports TV YouTube channel for all the latest and greatest in sports from across the 757 and the great beyond. New studio digs for me today. I know Ed is loving it, and it looks like he's got some more books on his bookshelf as he joins us back in the Commonwealth of Virginia after he tried to keep another thing a secret from me. As ladies and gents, he was commuting last week. You know, his connection went in and out a couple of times. No shocker. That's just typical for Coach. But he didn't tell me he was taking in an NFL game last Sunday. I had to find out from other sources. See, that's what Coach does. He tries to keep things from his partner, but his partner always, not sometimes, not occasionally, always finds out.
I thought, good morning to all. I had thought, I had told you I was going to Baltimore for the Raider game.
No, never did. It's a lie.
There would be no other reason for me to go. Well, I take that back. Could be the Oriole game, so would be a reason.
Listen, those Orioles-Yankees games don't matter anymore. No disrespect, because Craig Kimbrell has officially crumbled, and the Orioles will still probably make the playoffs as a wild card, but they can kiss their division hopes goodbye as your Bronx Bombers beat the Seattle Mariners. We know we got to get on the show soon, by the way. I saw him last night at the Norcom game I was covering. Mark Davis from Channel 3, WTKR, does a terrific job. He's from the Richmond area, previously working now in the 757 market. We've had him on radio a couple times before, at least I know I have, and he's a big Seattle Mariners fan, but they had some base running blunders against your Yanks. Julio Rodriguez's was bad, but Victor Robles, the former Nats, his was even worse. So. Yeah,
trying to steal home with
that was bad.
Ball in the pitcher's hand on the mound.
3-0 count. Justin Turner's at the plate, a.k.a. COVID man. I call him COVID man because he wanted to play with COVID and give everybody COVID during the World Series and never got suspended for it when he should have. But anyways, go
ahead. If you remember last week or 2 weeks ago, I had mentioned I need Raider tickets in Baltimore.
No. Stop. Can I call a 30-second timeout? You don't need anything.
You had your 30 seconds. I got to get mine now.
You wanted Raiders tickets, and you got them, and you need to thank that guy for getting them. But go ahead.
And lo and behold, our great GM, Chuck, came through.
Mr. Chuck,
his son works for the Raiders front office.
He does.
And Chuck gave me a call and said, "Hey, I understand you're looking for tickets." I said, "Yeah, you got any?" Got 2. And I got tickets from Chuck. Now, this door, and I was extremely grateful, excited the whole way. Only problem is when I got there, we had to park almost a mile away. But, walk ain't going to kill me. That's all right.
Well, is that because you left a little tardy as usual? Or did you not leave with enough leave time?
See, I didn't want to deal with parking, so I did advanced parking. But the choices they gave me, the closest lot was almost a mile away down near the harbor, and the parking, that was $60. So I said, okay.
You're a cheapskate, so you're not paying the $60 parking. I know you. Yeah.
I said, I'll get this one because if I get there and there's nowhere to park, I'll be driving around the city of Baltimore up till game time trying to find a place to park and may not. So I did it.
True.
Took the walk, and a lot of other people did too. And it was crazy. The biggest thing to hit me first was these Raider fans are another breed. I know
Baltimore. You are, and we know you are, so there you go.
I know Baltimore supports well, and there was that sea of Baltimore purple all over the place, and it's kind of neat. But I was kind of shocked at how many Raider fans were there. I would say probably 10 less than Baltimore. That's how many Raider fans were there. They were all over the place, in gear, with their chains, whatever. I just wore a regular shirt, and I got a couple people I got close to Steve said, "Hey man, who you repping?" And I'm like, "I'm Raider." I said, "I'm Raider all day long," and it was Raider fans I said it to, so it made it easy. I got offered food, beer, other beverages of other sorts, all kind of stuff, and I didn't, I just want to get in the stadium because by the time we got there, whatever, it was getting close to game time. So there's a lot of people. We get in there and you can't even move through the concourse. It's just so many people. Got a bite to eat after we stood in line for about 15, 20 minutes and missed the opportunity to go on the field. Chuck had field passes before the game. He had texted me. And I was hoping to get down there, but the food line was just too long. I was kind of hungry. And
you was kind of hungry. The food couldn't have waited for later. You could have been on the field with Max Crosby and all these Raider greats. Gardner Minshew. Did he miss you? He missed you, all right.
Yeah, I would have loved to go there. Chuck said, you couldn't get any autographs. I wouldn't necessarily look for any autographs, but it would have been cool to meet somebody if that's even possible. I don't think it is. I think you're just on the sideline.
I don't think you can do the handshakes and autographs while they're getting ready for the game.
No, you're just on the sideline and you kind of.
Hold on, we have some visuals. Mr. Thornton came through for me. And by the way, there's the former Kellum Knight now working for the Raiders, Mr. Carter Thornton with his mom Holly on the field before the game. I was telling someone this yesterday. I said, if Ed Young was out there on the field, I'm watching ESPN Sunday Countdown, I see him in the background, I would have dropped my water, peed myself, thought I was having an out-of-body experience if I'd seen you on the field, but that didn't happen.
No.
Didn't make it in time.
Now, I want you to put that picture back, if you would.
Ahead. Yeah.
Now, look, what's his son's name?
Carter.
Look at Carter's head. The hat.
Oh, no.
Okay?
We've got – if you want to go where you were sitting?
Yeah, I want you to go straight up.
That. We'll show you that now. There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, that picture does not do justice. I walked up those steps. Every step I took, I couldn't move. When I got to the seat,
exercise for you. When's the last time you walked some steps? You need to get your steps
that's
in.
not the key. I got a case of vertigo right now, and when I got up there, it went off. I turned around. I saw Chuck. Chuck was sitting by the wall where you go over the stadium and fall down about 28 stories. I looked around and all of a sudden that field started spinning. I mean, spin. I sat down for a second. I looked at Chuck. I turned around to Chuck. I said, "Chuck, I can't do this, man. I can't." He says, "I don't blame you. I might have to get out of here too." I got up, put both hands on those rails, both hands, and walked down like something was wrong with me. The lady, she's not there in the picture. One of the ushers asked me if I was okay, if I need a wheelchair. I said, "Yeah, but not up here." I could not take that height. We were so high up that if I would have raised my hand instead of on my tippy toes, I could have turned the light switch off to the tower lights off and on. That's how high up we were.
Something to do.
And so we went back down and we kind of hobnobbed around, went to guest services, say, "Hey, look, anyway, I can get a lower seat somewhere. Somebody didn't show up or whatever." Of course, I knew the answer was going to be no. And so what we did was
you can talk your way. As I've witnessed at the MEAC tournament, and I've witnessed in other venues that you've been. You can talk your way into anything. Well, sometimes not the best of things.
We kind of took some seats here and there, and unfortunately, it was sold out. But some people don't show up for every game, season ticket holder.
Doesn't that bother you? Doesn't that bother you, by the way? If you got season tickets, just give them to somebody if you're not going to use them. Doesn't that bother you? That bothers you.
I mean, if I get season tickets, I'm going to use them. If I'm not, then I'm hoping I'm going to give them to somebody that I know is going to definitely use them. So we moved around till we got kicked out of this seat, kicked out of that seat, kicked out of that seat, and then we finally watched it on the TV.
By the way, I got a better view to give you justice that is. That's how high up you were.
Yeah. I'm telling you, we were. Look at this. I was like, one of the Raider fans said, "Man, look at this view of Baltimore." I'm like, "Man, I ain't turning my head to look at nothing." I mean, we were so far up.
You don't look too high up, man. I've been higher in the airplane than that. That ain't that high. Come on.
Man, I could see into Pennsylvania from there. I was like, what in the world?
Nothing. I've been on numerous ODU women's basketball trips in the plane in the sky. That's nothing. Come on.
That's not happening. That's never going to happen again. I love and I thank Chuck 100% again. I loved the opportunity to get there. The atmosphere was crazy. Of course, the Raiders won the game.
They won the game. The crazy part. First of all, I'm at Virginia Wesleyan team camp, and I think the last tally was either 22 or 23 people that asked about you. I'm like, first of all, I'm not his son. I'm not his adopted son, and I'm not his guardian. So, and then the other thing was they wanted to know the scores of the football games because we had, it was on Saturday, Sunday last week. And a shout out to Dave Macedo. I'm going to be wearing my Marlins shirt I got. I'll wear it maybe next week on the show. Anyhow, one of the referees, first of all, one of the players for Virginia Wesleyan, I'll put it out there, Paul Anderson, he's a big Cowboys fan. It was not going well for him as he was getting razzed all day, including a couple times by me. But he of South County High School. And his little brother was playing with South County. I think Johnny's on the team now, his younger brother. But they wanted the Raiders-Ravens score. One of the referees did. And I said, the Ravens are up 10. They're going to win the game, whatever. About 30 minutes later, the guy comes up to me and says, wait a second, you just told me they were going to win the game. What happened? And Gardner Minshew, 2 years in a row, comes to Baltimore. He did it last year with the Colts. And he spoils the day for Harbaugh and Lamar and the team that many feel would win the AFC North and be the biggest threat and challenger to the reigning two-time Super Bowl champion Chiefs out of the AFC. Maybe not so fast, my friend.
Yeah, a great game. Great game to see. And it was, but like I said, there was enough Raider fans there. At times, you almost kind of forgot it was Baltimore because them Raider fans are loud and I hate to say it, but they're obnoxious as heck. A lot of them too. I mean, they're ready to pick fights and whatever. And
wait. I love how you disassociate yourself. You're a Raiders fan until it becomes something bad when it becomes obnoxious. Sometimes people
I'm not that style fan. I like.
We could put a poll up and see if it's yes or no on the obnoxious meter for you. Let's see if it's about.
Yeah, that's one thing never have been as an obnoxious fan at all.
I don't know.
I'm not that kind of person, let alone be the fan. But it was tremendous. Now I will put this out there. I guess I need.
Oh no, you don't need
to the Raiders in Vegas, so I have a reason to go back to Vegas.
No, you've been banned from Las Vegas for obvious reasons that we don't even need to disclose on this show. Or I mean, anybody with a brain can figure this out. Why you've been banned from Las Vegas? They have a sign when you land in Las Vegas. It's got your picture with a big X over it. You're not allowed. You're not allowed, and you don't need it. You need oxygen. You need water. You need air. You need food to live, clothes. You can't run around naked, but you don't need Raiders tickets, and you don't need a shot clock. Okay, you want those things, or in your case, you don't want a shot clock.
Yeah, I'm not really.
But you want Raiders tickets. Okay, you don't need it.
I need Raider tickets.
I'm gonna get all the basketball. Here we go. They're gonna get all mad at me now saying, "Hatfield, you're wrong. We need a shot clock." Okay. Maybe it makes the game better. I'm not disputing that, but you don't need it. You need referees, a basketball, and 10 players to play a game. You don't even need fans, by the way. Sorry, fans. We proved that during COVID. We don't need you. We need those essentials to play a game. You do not need a shot clock to play a high school game. NBA game, you might need it because it's technically part of the rules, but until they put it in the rules, it's not needed. It's wanted. When can we get this to explain this to you? The difference between needs and wants.
Okay, just remember, I need Raider tickets.
No, you don't. You want Raiders tickets.
Maybe
you just got them.
Picking this up out there in Vegas.
You got him. Why are they going to give them to you? Because then all you do is you bicker and moan and complain and Billy.
You're right. If it's up by the light tower, I won't need them. I can't do that light tower stuff. Yeah. I got to be down closer.
Be careful what you wish for. You ever hear that saying in life? Be careful what you wish for.
I've heard that.
But your team won. You should be happy. It was
tremendous. Tremendously happy. I really didn't think they were going to beat Baltimore. I picked, and we'll see a little bit later, my illustrious NFL picks last week.
Oh, none of us got to win. Bruce Pearl of Virginia Beach Mustangs fame, and you can watch Bruce Pearl's Mustangs. You don't need to watch Bruce Pearl's Auburn Tigers because they just gagged like dogs in the NCAA tournament. I'm still mad at that Bruce Pearl. He blew up my bracket when he lost to, was it Yale beat him in the first round? Picked to win the whole thing. I'll take the other Bruce Pearl from the Mustangs. He'd have coached a better job than that, done a better job coaching than that other Bruce Pearl. But anyway, you can watch his Mustangs football here on Cova Sports TV, 12 noon each and every Saturday through their season. That's why we go a little earlier to get off before 12 noon to let them get the stream recalibrated for that. But he said it was nice to know that he didn't suck alone. We all sucked. So, yeah, we did. We all stunk. I mean,
I think
I got 3 losses by half a point. 3. I should be 3-3 right now. 3 by half a point. And the Texans tried to give that game away against the Bears. And speaking of which, I didn't pick the Eagles, but the Eagles did give their game away against the Atlanta Falcons and Kirk Cousins Monday night. Did you watch that one?
Yeah, I saw most of the second half of that one. I think I had 4. When I pick all the NFL games, I think I picked 4 right. I'm in this other pool that I was doing okay, and I think I was like 6. And after that week, looked like I dropped down I think I'm down to 38 out of 50.
Okay.
So there that goes. That goes a waste of $30 entry, whatever. But yeah, last week I just can't understand it. Picking, who would have thought Minnesota over San Francisco?
No. If you listen to the Vito's son, you know Vito's son, right?
Is that Vinny's Vito's son?
That's Sal Palantonio of ESPN. Vito's son actually cautioned people. I heard him last week when he was on with Mitch and Paulie on Follow the Money. He actually said is one of his most confident picks was the Vikings over the Niners. That was not as big a stunner. San Francisco's beat up and they're banged up again this week, which we'll get to later in the show. But and we're going to take a time out here in a few moments and do our scores from Thursday, our high school football from Friday, some sound, all kinds of good stuff coming your way. We've got Greg Medea joining us from the Daily Progress. He covers the University of Virginia, used to be on the James Madison beat, and he's a lifelong diehard Mets fan. So we'll chat about how they are now amazing all of a sudden. See what I did there? Amazing Mets. Trying to get one of those last wild cards, which my D-backs are battling for with them and the Braves, as well as San Diego in the National League. Ed's Yanks have clinched. The Dodgers and Phillies have clinched. The Guardians have clinched. A couple comeback heroic wins for them this week. And all that coming your way here. But and so much is going on in the world of sports and in the NFL, which we've got some local guys we'll talk about too in just a little bit that are contributing in a big way, including guys from the New York Football Jets that won Thursday over the New England Patriots, coached by Kickotan alum Gerard Mayo. But you said that the Vikings Niners, the Vikings are not as bad as we thought, including myself. Sam Darnold's coming and done well. The 2 weeks in a row are the biggest upsets on the board. One of them was your Raiders knocking off the Ravens in Baltimore, and the week before, the Bengals losing at home to the Patriots. So if you had those tied up in any combination prediction, or shall we say parlay on the program, you'd be smelling like a rose right now.
Yeah, and see, the thing about it is most pundits had San Francisco. At the beginning of the year, there were people that way more experts than us had Minnesota last in their division. Now they beat San Francisco. And all I heard this week on certain talk shows that I listened to, how great Minnesota, Kevin O'Connell is a genius, how great they are.
Stupendous.
And I laugh because, okay, well, why were they bad in August? And now they're 2-0 and they got the greatest coach in the NFL. You know, it's just crazy how it's picked. Detroit. A lot of people picked Detroit to go to the Super Bowl.
I did against the Jets, and I'm standing by it, by the way. I'm sitting by it, standing by it. I'm sticking with it. I'm not getting off that just yet.
And it's just how everybody flops so much in these picks.
Listen, I had someone tell me last week it's a foregone conclusion. Cowboys, Chiefs in the Super Bowl, basically. And I'm like, wait a second. Dallas didn't show up on defense. And by the way, I'm going to make the NFC East fans. That's the NFC least. Nobody plays any defense in that division. Okay. Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, and definitely the Giants. Bring my Cardinals back to the NFC least. We could be the beast to the east or the least.
And there's another example. New Orleans was picked possibly to have the number one pick in the draft. That's how bad they were.
I thought they'd lose to Carolina in week 1. I really did. I thought they would be bad. Their offensive line I thought was going to be in shambles. And Derek Carr, former Raiders quarterback, maybe you're going to want him back by the end of the year.
I would take him back in a heartbeat.
Oh,
I didn't want to see him get rid of him to begin with. The fans ran him out of town. Look in New Orleans now. I just read something this morning about them. They a legitimate title contender after I heard on the Saints, and they went from probably number one pick in the draft, legitimate title contender. Does that mean Super Bowl?
It's overreaction. You know this. It's prisoners of the moment. It's overreaction. The Vikings beat a bad Giants team. They beat a banged-up Niners team. I'm not saying, Nick Senti, that you won't make the playoffs, your Vikings, and you won't be able to get Super Bowl tickets, which I don't think you will. You didn't even get them the year they went 15-1 with Randall Cunningham, Chris Carter, Randy Moss. But pump the brakes a little bit. And the Saints, I don't know that they're going marching in like they did with Drew Brees. They still have some work to do. They might not even finish in second in that division because it could be Atlanta 1, Tampa 2, or vice versa, and you're finishing third. I will say this, you're not finishing in the basement because the Carolina Panthers are El Stinko. To me, it's like they say with sports. We talk about this all the time on our state championship broadcast on the NFHS network, and you can lose a championship game or lose a season to a couple games in or early in a game. I don't think you win the championship or win a season or punch your ticket early in a game. Like teams that get out to the 0-3, 0-4 starts, it's sometimes too hard to overcome. It is.
Right. You like to think you get better as the year goes on, but so does everybody else.
That may apply in high school too as we morph it into that later on. Right. Yeah.
And then the other thing you have to worry about as the season goes on, those injuries start coming up. Mm-hmm. And then you got a guy that's got to sit out 1, 2, 3, whatever weeks. Miami, Tua is out 4 games for sure. Could be more, could be a season. Yeah. It's funny how it happens. And Carolina, I'm not an expert, not even close to, but I'm starting to agree with what a lot I heard this week was they want to bench.
They already did. Bryce,
their quarterback,
your cousin Bryce. Yeah,
they bench my cousin Bryce, but when you bring in a young quarterback, a rookie quarterback, you either sit him and let him learn, get him in where you can, or you say, probably not going to do anything this year because we're going to go with a rookie quarterback. Quarterback has never won a Super Bowl. So you put him in there and you go with him. But you have to surround him with some type of people. Number one, you got to have a line, some kind of a decent line. And then you got to have some weapons. Carolina didn't do that. They just threw him in there like this guy was going to be the next coming of great quarterback. And after 2 weeks, you sit him. Now what do you do with him? Because when you bring him back, his confidence is probably already shattered. And now you're flip-flopping on quarterbacks, and they got Andy Dalton going on. Why not start Dalton at the beginning of the year, ride with them until the wheels fall off, and then we go Bryce Young because Carolina is not going to go anywhere anyways. But, they say Carolina has probably the worst owner in the NFL. He's probably going to get my vote now because they really shouldn't have done to him what they're doing to him because a younger quarterback, when you sit him, and basically say, we're 0-2 because of you. And then you can bring them back later. Not going to work.
Worst owner over Jerry Jones?
Jerry Jones' problem is, number one, he shouldn't be GM. He talks too much. Now, but he is the owner.
Go ahead.
He's the owner. So you start thinking, well, he's paying all the bills. So why isn't he allowed to say what he wants to say when he wants to say it? True. But he dominates that. Like he has a press conference after every game. I just don't think he should be. He's too close to the situation as GM. But like I was telling somebody the other day, if he gives up GM and gives it to somebody else, that person is still going to have Jerry Jones in the ear every second.
Mm-hmm. So. Yep. I'm with you on that. Totally with you on that. We're going to take a timeout. It is 10 o'clock. We spent about 15, 20 plus minutes on what transpired in Ed's Ted and Bill's wild adventure? I guess you could say Ed's wild adventure to Baltimore. But we'll come back and give you the Thursday results. You're going to hear from a winning coach in the Southeastern District. You're also going to hear from a coach outside the 757 because the 757 has been dominating, spanking some of these 804 teams led by Maury, with a couple of beatdowns of Highland Springs and Dinwiddie. But there was an 804 team that did beat a 757 team in Tidewater backyard, our backyard. So we'll let you hear from one of those coaches and we'll take any questions, comments, interactions you have with us. We're on IG. We're on VirginiaPreps.com, YouTube, Cova Sports TV, our main platform, plus the Facebook and the Twitter or the X too. It's all coming your way. Oh, we got a surprise little visitor you're going to see in a second as far as that someone caught up with last night. But before we do all of that, we have to take a time out and come back with more and tell you about what's coming up at the Plex in a little more than a month in November. It's the Neptune Bowl. Take a look.
Get ready for the Neptune Bowl presented by DoubleTree by Hilton on November 23rd, 2024 at the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. Tailgating starts at 10 a.m. Grab your passes for just $50. Gates open at 12:30 with kickoff at 2 p.m. Advance tickets are only $20 or $25 at the gate on game day. Don't miss the third annual Neptune Bowl featuring a dynamic matchup between the Apprentice School Builders and the Atlantis University Atlanteans. Visit beachsportsplex.com to learn more today and secure your spot.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
All right, you know what time it is, folks. It's joke time. Why should you knock on the refrigerator door before opening it? Why, you ask? There may be salad dressing in there.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Ed's more of an Italian dressing guy than ranch dressing, from what I understand. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. Interact with us here as we are ready to go through some high school football action with all of you out there. Ladies and gents, you can always interact with us too, as we will do this all with you right now. Ed, Thursday night's games, we had one disagreement, and you were down 5 going into the week. But the streak, it's over. 34 consecutive losses for the Denby Patriots and Tommy Riemann. Oh, yeah, you remember Tommy Riemann. He coached at Warwick, Michael Vick. You remember Tommy Riemann. Coached at Lansdowne, took him to a regional final. You remember Tommy Riemann being drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers in 1974. He played in the WFL. And people also forget he played the role of Delma Huddle in the movie North Dallas 40. And he was on Charlie's Angels, a few episodes of Charlie's Angels. Got the schneid broken. Denby's off at 14-9 at quarterback. Going to be a good one. He's a good basketball player, too. Kevin Parker Jr., the sophomore trigger man. They defeat the Gloucester Dukes 14-9. Oh, I wanted to pick this so bad. I didn't have the guts. But Ed Young, he's a daring, bold person, folks. He goes all the way up high in the stadium for the Ravens-Raiders game. He comes down because he's a little frightened, too. And he had the selection right. But I think I got something wrong again. I got the Gloucester-Denby game wrong. 16-15 was your pick for Denby. They won 14-9. But I did look over one. I was like, well, no, Ed did get another game we disagreed on. He was wrong. He had the Nansemond River Warriors, which we'll get to in a second, against Oscar Smith. That didn't work out too well. But first, speak on, I know you're happy for Coach Riemann on a personal level. He got that streak broken, and maybe Denby could think about another win because they do play a kick-a-tan program that lost to Hampton on Thursday night, 35-0. That's been struggling this year. First-year coach we had on the show, Zachary James. But Denby can turn this into not just one win, but maybe a second win. And is it possible that, I know it's only 6 teams going this year as opposed to 8, could they even sniff around and get a couple more wins and be a playoff team? That would be something else if it does happen.
Would be. Let's try to get win number 2 first. Sometimes it just takes that first win after a streak like that to get that confidence, because now you see it's all worth it, all that work. We can do this. And kick it 10, again, new coach, lost a lot from last year player-wise also, might be the right opponent for them. If it was Phoebus, oh boy. But you got kick it 10. So can be exciting week for practice for Denby this week. Tommy got the guys riled up, and they can get a number 2. And then we'll see what happens after that. But it's just too many powerhouses to run into in the Peninsula District to even start thinking about playoffs right now, unless you're Phoebus. But hats off to Tommy and those guys. I just had a feeling that Denby was going to win at least a game this year. I just didn't know where or when. And then I thought, you know what? Gloucester could be the one. Gloucester lost a lot, too, from last year. I just kind of felt that this would be the one. But, again, I'm not going to gloat, because I think all the other picks I went against you, I think I lost all of them. So I take it. Happy for Denby. I don't hate to see anybody go winless, so at least they got one.
The other game I was going to hit on was the one I was at, and it's part of our question of the day. We talked about Kevin Parker, Denby. He's one to watch. You got Maricus Banks at Phoebus, Marcus Chapman at Hampton. Really good sophomore crop of QBs. I watched one last week from War Hill and Carson Strickland. And then Oscar Smith with Lonnie Andrews III. Tigers were shut out, Ed, in the first half against Nansemond River. It was 0-0. They had not 1, not 2, but 3 giveaways, 3 turnovers, including 2 fumbles inside the 5. But that trigger man, Lonnie Andrews III, missing his top 3 receivers with Travis Johnson, Trey Jones, Breon Dupree, all out. Well, he ends up throwing for 223 yards, 15 of 26, a couple of TDs through the air, a couple of TD runs, and the Tigers get it done. Brandon Nesbitt had a big night. We caught up with him, 28 rushes for 191 yards, and that defense was suffocating. 37 plays for 27 yards on the night for Nansemond River, which had a couple of field goals that did not go through. And you look at it, Ed, they're looking mighty, mighty tough for the Tigers on defense. The offense still finding its way. Nonetheless, behind Andrews, look at those receivers back healthy. This team has the makings to be a Class 6 title contender, where there is a big bad team up north that is just whipping people, that used to have players on the defending 2-time state champion Freedom Eagles now playing at Hayfield, the Hawks up there. But Oscar Smith in that region, with Thomas Dale losing last night to Glen Allen, surprisingly, and a big kudos to a 7'5" guy in Malik Sexton, who once played quarterback at Churchland, played at Virginia State. He's got the Jaguars undefeated after Perry Jones, another former 7'5" guy, left Glen Allen to go to William & Mary and become an assistant coach. But you look at Oscar Smith in that region now, where Highland Springs, Thomas Dale, Richmond, teams like Manchester as well have been at the forefront since Oscar Smith had a mini fall off the last couple of years, losing the region semifinals. Well, there's no fall off this year. I think it's the comeback, and they're looking more and more like a regional title threat and state title contender.
Yeah, I wrote Smith down on the picks.
Don't lie.
Deleted it.
Your heart's still at Nansemond River, and you
my heart told me don't do that.
First of all, here's what I don't get about you. You picked Bethel to beat them in week 1, and Nansemond beats them, I think it was 46-14. So what convinced you between that time on August the 29th, the day before they played, to basically September the 18th, the day before Oscar Smith and Nansemond played, that, okay, I'm going to choose them to go from winning to losing. Or, I'm sorry, from losing to winning. 2 games, samples.
Nansemond River's better than I thought they would be.
Okay.
And I thought I drank your Kool-Aid about Bethel in the offseason as possibly one of the most improved teams around. I said, you know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb, on the branch, and take Bethel over Nansemond. And that was a disaster pick because Nansemond rolled them. So, okay, Nansemond does well. I think I picked him in week 2. And then here comes week 3. I was going to go with Smith because I just kind of felt a little bit of revenge for Smith. And I think Smith is better than most people think. Now I'm thoroughly convinced that Smith just turned the corner and increased speed because Nansemond River's a good team, and they completely throttled them. And that game's 0-0 at halftime.
And they scored pretty much all their points in the third quarter. They exploded for like 28 points in about 6-7 minutes. That game went from being up for grabs to running clock in the blink of an eye.
Right, dominated in that second half against a good team. So
you drank Kool-Aid. That was the problem. Did you have tropical punch here, or did you have grape? What Kool-Aid did you drink?
No, when I drink Kool-Aid, baby, it's the old school cherry. It's got to be cherry Kool-Aid.
Oh, well, that's why I'm out of cherry. You're the one that drank it.
No, that's because you're the little ones there, the niece, and you give it to the doggone dogs too. I heard now.
No, I don't give dogs Kool-Aid. That's a no-no. That's a no-no. No, we don't do that.
That's why they bite anybody that comes into the house.
No, they don't bite anybody. Our dogs are
That's sugar high.
Our dogs are all bark, no bite. Speaking of bark or bite, we should do a segment later on in the show. I haven't prepared this. We should do bark or bite with underdogs. We should take 4 or 5 underdogs in college football, NFL later today, and say if they got bark or they got bite. What do you think about that? You like that idea?
I'm all for that. I'd love that. Would be a great opportunity.
Bark or bite?
And we got to get somebody with a hot dog stand to sponsor that.
Well, Ed is all bark. He's got no bite. But I tell you what, the Tigers, they bit down on the Warriors Thursday night. We have sound. We have Chris Scott. We have Na'Rod Jarvis. We have Brandon Nesbitt. Jarvis, defensive lineman. Nesbitt, running back. Scott, the head coach. We're going to save maybe one of those 3 for On the Hash with Hatfield next week. People have to stick around for that. But which would you like to hear first? We'll play a couple of them. We got time here. Would you like to hear Chris Scott first? Would you like to hear one of the 2 players first?
Nope. I got to hear one of the players because we always go coach last because they can clean it up a little bit better.
Well, we'll take your pick. Do you want the offensive guy, a little soft-spoken, or do you want the animated, energetic defensive guy? It's your call. You're going to hear from both of them here on Cova Sports TV. That's why you like, share, and subscribe, and all you Oscar Smith fans. But I'll let you get your choice in. You want the defensive guy who's got the energy rah-rah, or you want the soft-spoken offensive guy who quietly ran for $191? It's your choice.
Love defense. Let me have some defense.
Oh, he wants Na'Rod Jarvis. Here's what Jarvis said. He didn't hold anything back after the game with us on Cova Sports TV.
All right, I'm here with the junior defensive lineman, Na'Rod Jarvis, for the Oscar Smith Tigers, a 35-0 shutout of the Nansemond River Warriors to move to 4-0. All right, Na'Rod, it's a 0-0 grimy type of game at halftime. What was said in the locker room? Because the defense balled out the whole night.
What we said in the locker room, offense, we got your back. We got your back. Y'all struggling, but we got you. You got to have a brother to hold you up. That's what we do. Family is key here. Well, family is key.
The offense erupted in the third quarter. How much do y'all feed off of them? I'm sure they feed off when they see you getting to play in the backfield, tackle for loss. They see the INTs by Jaden Koval back there, and the defense is eating the whole night. How much do y'all feed off each other and the momentum of the crowd?
The offense, make a good play, turn up the defense. Defense, make a great play, turn up the offense. Vice versa. That's how we work. Sure. We a team. One team. It's always on the back of our jersey for every practice. One team. That's what we do. We get paid.
Last year, Nansemond River beat you guys in Suffolk 42-28. Was the talk all week about payback? What was the mindset coming in this one? Not in our house?
I won't even think about the payback. I get they beat us last year. They weren't ready for us this year. They were expecting us to come back with revenges and stuff. They came in our crib. You're not winning here. Yeah. It's a Tiger. Yeah. It's Tigers. You feel me?
Tiger,
you see that cage right there. Exactly. You can't come through here if you ain't ready.
Hey,
you can't.
What's different about, come on, Sharon, what's different about this Oscar Smith football team in 2024 as opposed to 2023? You've had a more magnified, bigger role in the defense. I'm sure you're salivating and licking your chops to get out there and make sacks and plays by the line of scrimmage, and you got a guy that played in the NFL, and Eli Harold coaching you up, and Giovanni Simmons was a big-time recruit, played at Ocean Lake. What's different about this team?
So with this team, most of us are seniors now, right? Most of our players, seniors or juniors, they played with the craziest teams of like the 2020 team, 2021, 2022.
From the COVID year, yeah.
That prepared us for now. Mm-hmm. We were playing against big people doing practice every day. Mm-hmm. We ready for this. 15-0 run starting now.
Well, lastly, I know it's the goal, state championship, to get there in December to James Madison University, Harrisonburg. How good can this team be, and what's it going to take to fulfill those goals in your eyes?
So as of right now, we still a B-average team right now. We haven't played our best game ever yet. We haven't played our best game. Our best game ever, we will put up 100. I got fully trust in this team. We going all the way. We going all the way.
Watch out for number 21, Na'Rod Jarvis and the Tigers. Thank you so much. Congrats on the win. Good job.
Gotta love the confidence and enthusiasm of one Na'Rod Jarvis, who was balling out, making plays all night long on that defense for Oscar Smith as they limited, as we mentioned, Nansemond River to a mere 27 yards on 37 plays. Jarvis a big part of that with 3 tackles, 2 behind the line of scrimmage. Tigers had a couple of picks from Jaden Koval, and then just engulfed a Nansemond River, a team that had one of the better passing attacks around, coming in with Tyrell Grant. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. Your reaction to what Mr. Jarvis had to say there, Edward?
Well, I tell you what, he is full of energy to go at it. He's talking 15 wins in a row, going all the way. And when they play their best game, they can drop 100.
Yeah.
For a second there, I thought he meant on the basketball court, but he
plays basketball too. By the way, he's an inside guy. I think he gave you headaches last year, right in the fourth quarter. Him and Travis.
Yeah, he's aggressive, sneaky on putbacks, aggressive. He is aggressive. So I can imagine him on the football field, but I do because I remember the name on there when it came up. But again, it's an impressive win against a good team. It's two games in one. First half, nobody does anything. Second half, it's total domination. That's what when I saw that, it got me was, wow, it just total domination and took away anything Nansemond River could try to muster up or try to do. So if they can sustain that second half at the beginning of all games coming up, because they're not going to have it totally easy now. I mean, Kings Fork, there's some teams got something to say. But I think they really took a giant step last night or on Thursday.
Well, let's be honest though, and they didn't move the ball in the first half. They just had 2 fumbles inside the 5. That was the big difference there. Otherwise, they might have had 14-0, and it could have ended up being 42 or 49-0. So a couple of miscues. I think there's a lot that Chris Scott can take out of that victory for the Tigers. And speaking of which, would you like to hear what he told us after the game? Would you like to hear what he told us after the game?
Yeah, let's bring that on. I thought we were coming right with it.
Oh, you didn't say nothing. I asked you, and you didn't say nothing.
I said bring the player on first, and then let's hear the coach after.
Here's what he said with us on Cova Sports TV. Shakes his head in disgust. He's all right. He got to see the Raiders win last week, and they might go to 2-1. Right now, though, the Tigers are.
All I can say is you are what I thought.
All right, I'm here with the head football coach of the Oscar Smith Tigers, Chris Scott. They win it tonight by a running clock margin, 35-0. Coach, this didn't feel like a 35-0 running clock game at halftime. It's a scoreless battle. You have 3 turnovers, 2 lost fumbles inside the 5. But what in the world did you tell the guys at halftime to propel this explosion that Oscar Smith's been known for over the years?
Yeah, you walk in and the feeling is that we're just frustrated, top to bottom. Defense kept us in there. We got a short field right before the half and then get a sack and then couldn't get the ball over. We were moving the ball, really kind of dominating in the trenches, which could wear down a team. And so you go in and you start to say, hey, am I supposed to make a lot of changes? What should we do, adjustments? No, we just got to look each other in the eye to eye and say, hey, it's you versus you. And let's just finish this game. And so they stayed back to back, and a young team. We were young last year, and we're still young. But games like this help you grow up early on in the season. You need it because this is probably one of the best conferences districts in the state, and hopefully they'll prepare us for games 11 through 15.
And that was something that one of your players I spoke to told me about, Na'Rod Jarvis. He's one of the juniors for you. He told me different leadership with the seniors and juniors now, and also the offense and defense hasn't showed us back. I spoke with Brandon Nesbitt, who was a workhorse tonight, 28 carries, a buck 91. I know about the fumbles, but he gets a touchdown for you, and you've been riding him, especially tonight with some receivers out. Your passing game didn't get clicking until the second half.
Yeah, it didn't. We used the run to set up the pass, and and really the pass that got us going is the guy that hasn't seen the field a lot at receiver. It's one of our rotational guys, Silas, and then he catches a stop, and then guys are blocking and downfield for each other, and that's when you say, all right, they're not just sitting back waiting for a me play. They're getting out and blocking for each other, and that showed, and that catches up to a team after a lot of that, like I said, wear and tear in the third and fourth quarter. We were able to go ahead and be explosive.
Yeah, kids are very telling. Both Nesbitt and Jarvis didn't think this was an A performance. It's a B or a C grade, wherever you might grade it. But I think as a coach, some of them wrong. The thing you have to be pleased about is you're seeing those effort plays, yards after the catch. You miss out of a tackle, special teams plays. You block a field goal tonight. And then defensively, you get the 4th down stops. And how about Jaden Koval, Sherrod's little brother? Maybe not anymore. 2 picks tonight, right?
Yeah, defense flying around and did a great job just making some adjustments on some coverages that we haven't shown this year, and it came up and made some really, really big plays for us. Again, it's just the fact that the guys can grow up, because sometimes you could go through some of these seasons and the regular season and not be tested, and you got to be tested. That's a good program, and they thumped us a little bit last year, and so with that, you come out and you get tested, and grow up a little bit more, and film is a little more fun for a coach on games like this because lessons are going to be learned, right?
Sure. Hard to believe. Lastly, you're 4 games into this thing, and always the quest to go to 15 there. You've won a couple state titles here. You mentioned last year you lost 42-28 in their place. Now you pitch a shutout. What are you liking right now? What do you see in terms of what this team's ceiling can be as you go along this journey? I know there's still some battles with the Indian Rivers, the Kings Forks is still away, but I'm sure you're also excited to see how this group grows, right?
Certainly. I'm excited to see how the group grows. We're tight. This is a tight group. Coach Thurgood, Coach Simmons did a great job in our offseason and some of our leadership stuff. This group is tight. I feel like, a lot of our discipline showed up in some of the frustration. Not cheap penalties, not cheap fouls, and I think that showed up. But what I want to see from our guys is that they continue to get tested and answer the call. And this wasn't a test for ourselves and against a great team, and then they're able to handle that adversity because, there's a lot of talented teams in the state, and we just got to be able to – it can't just always go your way. And when you can respond when it doesn't, whether a snap goes over your head or we don't push the ball in, thought we were across the line, whatever may have you, you can feel sorry for yourself, or you can say, so what, now what, and then use the energy with the guys and play back-to-back like we did tonight.
Whether it's a Friday night or a Thursday night, the Tigers are still piling up W's here at Beard DeLong Easley Field. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
So that was Chris Scott. Oscar Smith, the winner, 35-0 over Nansemond River on Friday night. Woodrow, many echo those sentiments of you. There's a lot of Tigers fans that would like to see them win it all in Class 6, even though, as he mentioned, Hatfield is putting up numbers of 70-0 win over Chantilly on Friday night. Chantilly was 3-0 coming in. And by the way, if you look at our VirginiaPreps.com state rankings, Class 6 and Class 1, we have Hatfield number 1 in the Commonwealth, Oscar Smith number 2. Real quickly, as Ed will react to what Chris Scott said, and the rest of my rankings 3 through 10 coming into last night featured Madison, Battlefield, Thomasdale, Patriot, Colonial Forge, Highland Springs at 1 and 2, moved to 2 and 2, Gainesville at 9, and South County 10. 3 of those teams last night, Ed, all went down, with Thomasdale 5 falling to Glen Allen, Patriot 6 falling to number 7 Colonial Forge, and South County number 10 losing to Fairfax. So there will be a little bit of a changing in the rankings, but have Hatfield and Oscar Smith separated themselves, or do you think someone else out there, a Colonial Forge, a Battlefield, a Glen Allen, can somebody else challenge them, or are we on a collision course for Smith, Hayfield come December? What's your feel of that? And then what Coach started to say?
Hayfield is distanced himself. The gap between Hayfield and Smith is larger than Smith and
Whoa.
Yeah, right now.
Wow.
I think.
Wow. What makes you say that?
I listen to Chris talking, and he keeps mentioning about some of the younger guys. So we have a lot of junior seniors. We have younger guys in position. Youngster Jenkins talked about, they're predominantly seniors, juniors, and we should be doing this year now. We've got this. We learned this when we were young pups back in the day. I still think there's a little bit of that in Smith, and they have not played their best game. What they showed Thursday was we can almost do nothing right in half of a game, and then in the second half of the game, completely flip the script 100%. They're going to have to be a little bit more consistent from opening kick all the way through to the end of the game. Hayfield is that right now. All Hayfield is doing right now is, are we getting 7 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns, 9 touchdowns this week?
So
they're already there.
And they have the best guy on the field every time they go with Jeff Overton Jr., who I think had like 9 for 239 and 3 touchdowns last night. The Virginia Tech commit, who's just unbelievable, 2-time state player of the year, trying to make it 3-time.
And I'm going to say it because now is the time and day to say it. Back in the day, we put our hand over our mouth and said, don't talk about it. They're built for this. Hayfield's built for this. They brought in, dozen players? Some of them were ruled ineligible. So they brought in players to be in the position that they are now in. Smith had a lot of youngsters from their program, and they're still finding their way. And they're going to be better, way better than what they are. So, yes, the gap between Hayfield and Smith is bigger than Smith and the people behind them in the state rankings. It doesn't mean Smith can't take off. I think they will. Like I said, Nansemond was a signature win for them, especially how they did it. So If they
and they still
their,
have Indian River and Kings Fork to come in October.
That's
And
what I'm
listen,
saying.
I don't fully disagree with what you said. I appreciate your perspective and insight on this because you're not knocking Oscar Smith here. You're basically saying that Hatfield's just on a different platform right now. And as you've well said before, and I can read through your words here, not to put words in your mouth, that can change by November. An injury here, something can change that. But it does feel like right now, and the same may be applied as we move to Friday night's results after the break. Think about this in your brain here. I'm going to pose that same question to you in Class 5 and Class 4 with the favorites that are defending champs from our neck of the woods in Maury and in Phoebus. Some teams made some statement wins last night. Obviously, the likes of Green Run come to mind, smacking Cox 34-0. You were a little bit sheepish on would they get through the season unbeaten. I know you picked Green Run like me, but I don't know that we saw 34-0 coming when Cox had been giving up maybe 12, 15 yards a game on defense, just absolutely stoning people. And in Phoebus's case in Class 4, really good football teams, but Phoebus, when they beat Highland Springs, sort of said to the rest of the state, we'll play anybody, anywhere, anytime with our defense and go mano-a-mano with you. So I feel what you're saying. I mean, and Woodrow is saying what I said last night. Go watch it on the YouTube, Woodrow, on our live. I said it on IG and everything on my Hats Hits. We need Maury Hatfield in our state next year. I don't care about this guy's graduating, that guy's graduating. It's a new cycle for schedule. Let's get that game lined up for 2025 and 2026. Bring it down here. We'll do it. We'll call it a VaPreps Cova Sports TV Classic. The Sportsplex if they want to do it. I don't care where to play it again. They can play it up north next year or the year after that. I don't care. It would be phenomenal to see. People want to see that. And that's all people are talking about now is I've put that out there in the air because, Ed, I'm in the parking lot literally on Thursday night at Oscar Smith when a guy grabs me and says, hey, how come we don't have a tournament of champions like they do in North Carolina? Or they do in this state or that state? We've talked about it with basketball before, and we're talking about it in football now because they want to see the Class 5 and Class 6 go against each other. You could do the Class 4 and Class 3 champ go against each other with Phoebus and a Liberty Christian, which they did a few years ago before Phoebus moved up to Class 4. People are clamoring for that, and that's kind of how we feel right now with those two teams. Head and shoulders, knees and toes. Before we go to break real quick, I want to get your quick thoughts. The other Southeastern scores. Grassfoot had a lead on Deep Creek, couldn't hold it after 3 quarters of play. Hornets come roaring back to win it to move to 2-1, 16-8, doubling up the Grizzlies in Chesapeake. Kings Fork had some trouble in the first half, a couple of turnovers, but then they absolutely erupted, much like Oscar Smith in the second half, 64-14 as their defense got going in the offense behind the running attack of Javon Ford and Bubba Anderson. No problem. And the bit of the head-scratcher surprise result on Thursday night, Hickory, Dickory, Doc, the mouse went up, the clock. Hey, the Hawks, the clock struck 10 for Western Branch, 29-13. Hickory, a winner over Western Branch, third straight defeat for the Bruins before their bye week when they host Nansemond River on October 4th. While Hickory now sits at 2-1, they'll host Great Bridge, then they host Deep Creek. So Hickory and Deep Creek both at 2-1. Deep Creek's got a harder game next week with Indian River, but all of a sudden, Hickory, which lost by 53 to Indian River, has a chance to maybe sneak in the door in 5A as one of his last playoff seats. How about that?
Yeah, that win surprised me. 10 out of 10, I would have taken Hickory without
Western
Branch without question. So great win for the Hawks of Hickory High. The rest of those scores, I think, pretty much went according to form. You said Kings Fork struggled at first, and then you look at the score, there's no struggle there whatsoever. Deep Creek, I thought Deep Creek Grassville game would be a lot more scoring than that, with Deep Creek in a maybe a 1 touchdown, possibly 2 touchdown win over Grassville. So that game, the low scoring effect of that game was surprising to me. Indian River, who did Indian River beat?
They didn't beat anybody last night. They were idle. They actually they were idle Thursday night. They actually beat the week before Hickory 56-3, following up its 56-3 rout of Lakeland on September 6th. Remember, they had that double overtime 37-31 comeback win against Verona to open the season. But their schedule is going to get a little tougher now in terms of some games. They got Deep Creek on the road. They then go to Kings Fork. They then host Oscar Smith. They then host Nansemond River. And that was where last year they got tripped up. But those games did serve them well on their road to beating Green Run on the road in the Region 5A finals, and then getting to the state playoffs where Maury just absolutely took them apart. But I do think Indian River might be a little better than some realize and could get more attention as we move to October. They have some spotlight games forthcoming that we'll be checking out. So in that SED. So a lot of the SED teams playing on Thursday night to go with the Peninsula and Bay Rivers that generally play on Thursday night. That was because of the Luke Bryan concert that ended up getting pushed back to Sunday, which, by the way, I said this the other day, I don't want to go on a rant about it. That actually was scheduled for June. So I don't know how people think this was all of a sudden news just in the last 24 to 48 hours. Again, we've got our question of the day. Who's the best sophomore QB in the class of 2027 in the 757 or the state of Virginia? We want to hear from you. Who's a quarterback we're not giving enough love to or should be on our radar? We talked about Lonnie Andrews of Smith, Mauritius Banks of Phoebus. Obviously, Marcus Chapman, Hampton, Kevin Parker, Denby. We talked about last week on our Hats Hits and even on the Hash with Hatfield. Torrey Newkirk from Morey's just been incredible for the Commodores. We'll talk about the Commodores win Friday, the game I was at in Portsmouth. A guy that made his return to the Bay Rivers District, and blue smoke. He didn't get the W against the Tab Tigers. Ed Tab is 3-0, a surprising story there. We'll do all that. Greg Medea is around the corner, too. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. We'll come back after this quick timeout. Stay tuned.
Treat yourself to a visit to the Drip Bar, IV hydration and vitamin therapy in Virginia Beach. Boost your immunity, increase your energy, and promote anti-aging with our personalized treatments designed to ensure efficient nutrition absorption to rejuvenate your mind and body. Come see our chic and relaxing day spa for yourself today. We welcome walk-ins and appointments. Our medical professionals will help you achieve your best health and answer all your questions. The Drip Bar at Lansdowne Commons in Virginia Beach.
After more than 50 years of innovation, AstroTurf still leads the way. The inventor of artificial turf does it all, right here in the USA. We engineer, test, manufacture, and install the world's most innovative fibers and turf technologies, with over 30,000 tracks and fields worldwide. AstroTurf, powered by Sport Group.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
That's right. Did you see who that was, Ed?
Can't believe it. Keith.
Yeah, look at him. And the stadium. Keith, the one and only, was at Warner Stadium last night in the Bay Rivers District, Smithfield, Jamestown. It was Smithfield prevailing 7-0 in a barn burner, but Keith was into it. He was into it. Let's as I take that down there, we can watch him again here one more time. Keith was into it. He's getting them all fired up, was Keith. So Smithfield does move to 3-0 for the big matchup with Lafayette next week, who was idle. That's a Bay Rivers District Game of the Week and a 757 Game of the Week candidate. And by the way, that's a good win for Smithfield. Yet that's a really nice job by Jamestown. We were snickering about them giving up 100+. And the new coach this year that comes in, James Riley from the 804, and Jamestown is no longer the laughingstock. He was a Colonial Heights assistant coach. they're no longer a laughing stock. To lose that game to 7-0 after Smithfield had flexed its muscles a little bit, beating Norview 48-0 and squeaking by Churchland 14-13. Churchland got themselves a nice win coming from behind 12-10 after being down 10-0 to Hopewell on the road, by the way. Good win for them and Don Shaw Leonard's Truckers to go get that done with the defense, pitching a second-half shutout. But Jamestown's no longer the armpit doormat of the BRD. They're showing some improvement to only lose by 7 because I thought it'd be a running clock score, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I picked Smith for like 40-0, something like that. So I give a lot of credit to Jamestown. It wasn't a win, and a lot of teams aren't into moral victories like, oh, we had a good game, we lost. But that would be the epitome of that type of game.
Sure.
You played well against a really good team that's really catching fire, and you lost by 1 touchdown. Unfortunately, you didn't get anybody in the end zone, but still, you got to think that can help spur them a little bit too. But like I said, with the Denby win, nothing cures headaches of losing like a win. You got to get a win. More victories are okay, but you got to get the real victory to snap out of it.
For sure. So the 7-5-7 teams are doing well against the 804 as it was a win for Churchland, 12-10 over Hopewell. An easy one for Maury, 47-7 over the Dinwiddie Generals. An 83-yard kickoff return for a touchdown by LeBron Bond. The Indiana commit. Torrey Newkirk found him for a 43-yard score later on. Then he had a 62-yard TD to Jay Navery, and before you blinked, it was 20-0 in favor of Maury on a night where Newkirk throws for $189 and 2 touchdowns, rushes for 42 yards. They get Tayshawn Branch, who had a sack on defense, involved with a 45-yard TD run in the second half. Javonte Hughes and Leon Fatman Clark, the William & Mary commit, also find the end zone as Maury is out to a 3-0 sizzling start. They've got Lake Titter next week. But there was a team from the 804 that came to the 7-5-7 and actually conquered some demons, got a win. And that was Thomas Jefferson of Richmond over Norcom, Ed.
Yeah, TJ out of Richmond is having a decent season. I think they're in your rankings.
They're number 2 in the state. You think they're up there, yeah.
Yeah, you got to moving up, and they beat a good Norcom team, 34-12, and you had a chance to catch up with the head coach, Eric Harris, after this ball game to see what Thomas Jefferson's all about, coming down here and beating a good Norcom team. Let's see what you guys talked about.
All right, here with Thomas Jefferson of Richmond head football coach Eric Harris. His Vikings win at 34-12 over the IC Norcom Greyhounds to move to 4-0. Coach, 3 straight shots coming in. You were getting donuts. The defense was dominating. And tonight, your offense, your quarterback, you know how good he is. People know what do, but the rest of the state finding out about this young man, Rashad Cherry, 325 yards, 5 TDs. What did you see from him and your whole group?
I've seen nothing that I haven't seen in the first 3 games. Excuse me. Rashad has been phenomenal. An exceptional leader of the team. He's taken the reins over the summer. With this win right here, going back to last year in regular season, his regular season record is 14-1. I mean, 14-0. Right. We were upset in the playoffs last year. We had a perfect season last year, then he's won this. So he's 13-0.
And he was hurt, right?
Yeah, he was hurt. Yeah. So we're talking about a kid who took on the reins, and we're really, really pushing towards, going towards that next level. So what he's been doing with those 2 stud outside guys, we got both Amari and Malik. Yeah. Malik started us off with a phenomenal touchdown pass in the end zone, and both of those guys are going to be going to Tech tomorrow, and then they're going to Penn State next week. So.
Yeah, it might not show up in the stat sheet. Malik had a TD saving tackle against the kick going to Penn State earlier, and Matthew Allen. Yeah. And then how about Amari Goff? Comes in for you guys from Buckingham. Tonight he has 3 catches for 180 yards, 2 TDs, 60 yards per catch. Not a bad average.
Not a bad average, man. And here's the deal. I have to tamper these guys, man, because I play wide receiver in college, right? So I understand that room, and I'm coaching the wide receivers. So I'm having I got, they can be some divas sometime, but, so far Malik's been that guy. Amar's been popping this little screen and just letting them know this might be your week this week. This might be your week. But when you talk about that kid, he is pure, take the top off, explosion fast.
Let's be real. It's out there. 7-5-7 versus 804. They were pretty steely-eyed coming about their size, but you guys neutralized that with some speed and also execution. Take me through the game plan coming in to kind of quiet the crowd and get them out of their element.
Well, that's what we saw. They are massive compared to us, right? But we did see that we could utilize our strength and our speed. And to be honest, I'll give them great credit. They came out at the very beginning trying to neutralize that. Their whole game plan was to neutralize our speed and try to run the ball down our mouth. But the speed, along with the guys that we got coming back and the strength of that interior line and that box that inside, they weren't able to do it. So
Couple
took advantage of it.
No doubt. I felt defensively as the game progressed. So you had some penalties. You got to clean it up. 15 flags.
Yeah.
I felt like you saw more and more bodies get to the football. You saw 3 or 4 hats. Has that been what is the staple of your defense? Not having one guy make the solo tackle, getting 3 or 4 guys to the football?
Yeah, that's the mantra of our football. Going back, I mean, coming into tonight, if you go back to last year, what we had was we had 3 shutouts this year. The last 5, we had 4 of the last 5 games were shutouts. And we were the 6th ranked defense in the state. That was behind Maury, Phoebus, not 3A, but 6 overall. So we're upset about that 12 points, especially the last 6. We're upset about it. So we really, really, really are a defensive minded organization and team. So yeah, we practice extremely hard on that. And these guys are gonna pay because we had some missed tackles out here today that don't fit.
Yeah, some missed tackles, some coverages, and flags.
Yeah.
And even though there's some things to clean up, lastly, is the big takeaway a medal, a tough, hard-nosed road win that can help you for the playoff journey? Because we've now got you number 2 in the state in Class 3 behind only the defending champion, Liberty Christian. It feels like you guys, the sky is the limit if you do get those things corrected.
Exactly, and that's why when Hannah Springs didn't take this game again and we couldn't get the Huguenot game, I immediately told my AD, let's jump on that. And it worked out perfectly. Let's go down on the road. Let's play a tough team. Let's play a 7-5-7 team. And at that time, I didn't even know they had the kid out in them. I mean, after a while, after I set it up, I was like, holy crap, what did I do, right? But we ended up coming down. But it was just for that reason. We needed to toughen up our schedule. We needed to get I wanted to see my guys go through some adversity and play some good competition, and we did tonight.
Good job. Well done. Congrats on the victory. Go celebrate.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Eric Harris, after their win over the Norcom Greyhounds 34-12 on Friday night, it is Cova Sports TV and 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Ed, your thoughts on what he had to share? As they got that quarterback. He got hurt last year in the playoffs. Big difference when he's out there throwing for a total of, accounting for a total of 325 yards and 5 TDs as they moved to 4-0 on the season after 3 shutouts. They win a good one in Portsmouth.
Well, the quarterback is going to be. Well, he already is, but he's going to make himself one of the best in the state because they're winning. And Coach Harris had a key statement. His speed took care of Norcom's size. And most of the time, I think, as the other old saying, speed kills. In football is a most definite situation that you could take it. You take it away from a strength game and make it a speed game, and you're going to win that if you got it. Even though Norcom's got some speed, not what TJ has. Thomas Jefferson Coach educated me in that film too. They're shutting people out as well as any of the powers we talked about. But we haven't really talked about Thomas Jefferson much. Of course, you got him up number 2 in the state. But I didn't think they were as good as that. But to shut out people like they're shutting out, coming down here to play a decent Norcom team, they're not afraid to play people. I just think there's a lot of people don't want to play them. They got some athletes, and he's going to figure it out. Again, avoid injury. There will be a team come state playoff time. We might be thinking or saying, well, we didn't give that team enough credit during the season. Look, they're here now.
Yeah, and I think in Class 3 we could see a collision course with them in Lafayette, dare we say, in the state semis. And if they got through that, maybe Liberty Christian, the defending champ, with Gideon Davidson, the Clemson commit at running back in the finals. Coming up next, we'll take a timeout. We're going to hear from our pal Greg Medea to talk about the University of Virginia, the Cavaliers at 2-1, taking on the Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina in some college football today. We'll take a quick timeout, though, and hear a word from some of the sponsors that make it possible for us to do this with you here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're all over the web on IG, Facebook, Virginia Preps, Apple, Spotify, so much more. But coming up next month, or I should say in November, the Neptune Bowl. Here's more on that.
Get ready for the Neptune Bowl presented by DoubleTree by Hilton on November 23rd, 2024 at the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. Tailgating starts at 10 a.m. Grab your passes for just $50. Gates open at 12:30 with kickoff at 2 p.m. Advance tickets are only $20 or $25 at the gate on game day. College football only comes to Virginia Beach once a year. Visit beachsportsplex.com to learn more today and secure your spot.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and that evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
And we welcome you back to 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are pleased to be joined by a special guest. He's one of the very best in the business covering intercollegiate athletics. College football for the Daily Progress, was once on the JMU beat, now on the UVA beat. We say hello to our friend and lifelong diehard New York Mets fan, Greg Medea. Greg, you've got to be so thrilled right now. Your amazing Mets are battling my D-backs and the Braves and the Pods for one of those last wild card spots, and it's been a big turnaround from the early struggles to the season.
Man, you're right, Matt. Sweating it out a little bit here toward the end. Going to go down the wire. Of course, got another series with Atlanta this coming week. So, that's how that goes. But considering where they were in May and what it's taken to turn it around, impressive, and fun to watch, as you know, a lifelong Mets fan.
Yeah, my podcast brethren here, my partner, Coach Young, is a diehard Yankees fan. So he's living large life, as he is shirt there, living large after they beat the Mariners and are holding on to the best record by a smidge over the Cleveland Guardians in the American League. Maybe we get a little Subway Series action going from 24 years ago. But I thought Acuna was out. And then I see Acuna for the Mets all of a sudden making plays. The other one's out for Atlanta. And this is just some kind of story because your pitching was in shambles early, and now here they are and one of the hottest teams in baseball in the last 2 months.
Yeah, it's so interesting because it's like they're doing it with some older veteran guys who have been around the block. Sean Manaea, Luis Severino, Coach knows with the Yankees. It's like guys who have kind of reclaimed their careers a little bit with the Mets. So been fun to watch, and with what Lindor did past couple months. I know he's been hurt the last few days, but man, impressive.
Yeah, it's a shame he won't get the NL MVP because Shohei Ohtani's on a different stratosphere, a different planet right now. He's out of his orbit. But, he's had a heck of a year. Ed, you wouldn't mind a Subway Series redo, would you?
Man, I would love it. Greg, and good morning to you. I'm a diehard Yankee fan, but I don't hate the Mets. And I've been told by Yankee fans, you're not a Yankee fan unless you hate the Mets. But I can't hate the Mets. I do like the Mets, but I have to admit I like the Braves a little better. So I'm rooting for the Braves. But if I would love to see a Met Yankee World Series by far. I'd love to see that. And Yankees would take that in 4 straight.
Don't sugarcoat it. You just hate my Diamondbacks. You want us out of it altogether. That's what you
yeah. Well, no, I'm going to give Diamondbacks credit. They're credit. What I want to know from Greg is, has he done any of the Frank the Tank reigns?
No.
That's lose.
I watch those. Those are too funny. I appreciate those, but no, I don't. I pretty much just watch the games and then, got to go about my life afterward. But but that's kind of how I am.
Greg, Matt sends me when Frank goes off. Matt will send it to me, and I used to go crazy laughing. Now I'm worried because I'm thinking one of these days we're going to see him expire in one of his rants. I mean, just go out. I mean,
not bang his head on a wall, but through a wall. As we're going to say, is he okay? Yeah.
The Mets will do that to you, though. Sometimes the Mets will do that to you. It's not easy being a Met fan, right? I mean, it's just the way it goes.
And all due respect, though, when the Yankees were going through their, what are they doing? And I would get on my Yankee line where some of the fans would talk. They were firing everybody from Steinbrenner down to the bad boy. It was get rid of this guy, get rid of this guy. And of course, when Clay Holmes came in, I'm sitting there thinking, Lord, why not bring him in when you're up 12, not when you're up 2? I mean, it was Clay Holmes and Craig Kimbrell, 2 guys with notoriety, all-star backgrounds, whatever. But when they came in, you didn't know if it was going to be lights out or our lights were going out because they were going to give up runs like crazy. I know Matt suffered a lot with Kimbrell, and he finally convinced Baltimore to get rid of him. He has that kind of pull.
Yeah. But, Greg, let's shift gears here. College football, University of Virginia today, 2:00 kick on ESPN Plus against the Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina, who, if those don't follow the Chanticleers, they've had a little bit of a solid history here lately in college football. They got a guy from our state, and Ethan Vasco at quarterback that you can talk about, from Oscar Smith, 512 yards, 3 TDs thus far. But UVA can match its win total from last year today if they get the victory on the road. They're favored by 3.5. They're also coming off a tough loss to swallow, 27-13 against Maryland, where they were up in that game early. They had that game against Wake Forest. They got dicey, pulled it out close, 31-30. What's the feel for UVA? Is this a big pivotal moment in their season? It could go one way or the other. What's kind of the feel after that Maryland game and as you turn the page to today?
Yeah, Matt, great question. I think going into the year with Virginia, I thought you'd look at this 3-game stretch at Wake, home against Maryland, at Coastal Carolina, and you kind of felt like you had to win 2 of those 3 games to give yourself a chance to get to a bowl game. So I think this is an important game, especially when you consider, the next part of their schedule, and that's with an improved Boston College team, a Louisville team that appears to be very good. They haven't played anybody yet, Louisville, but they appear to be pretty good. Then you go to Clemson. So you start to look at the schedule. There are not many easy games down the line. A lot of games that Virginia will either not be favored in or ones that'll come down to the wire. So you look at this one as one. I know Virginia only 3-point favorite, but against a group of 5 team, albeit against one that's had success, and is probably thinking it can beat Virginia on its home turf. The teal surf turf is what they call it down here in Myrtle Beach. But I think this is a pivotal game for Virginia when you think about the goals and aspirations they have for this season. That's how I view it. That's how I viewed this 3-game stretch. And they're 1-1 so far since the schedule came out.
Yeah, it's a lovely place to be. I've been there the last couple of years with ODU men's and women's basketball, covering some games down there at Myrtle Beach. Before I flip it back to Ed here, bigger concern in this matchup, how UVA's defense stymies Ethan Vasco in this offense, or the offense showing some consistency? Because we've seen some really good moments from Anthony Calandria, and the passing game, running game's been a mixed bag at times too. But what's the bigger concern, how they sustain drives or how they get Vasco off the field, especially on third down? What do you think is the bigger pressing and for the UVA fan base coming into today?
I think the offense needs to score touchdowns in the red zone. That's the big concern with Virginia. Last week, they probably should have been up big at halftime. They had drives that just stalled in the red zone. 4 red zone trips in the first half against Maryland. Only 1 touchdown in those 4 trips. That can't happen, right? That's how you let teams hang around. That's how you let teams stay in the game. And after halftime, the game flipped, and Virginia's offense didn't do as well. Didn't have as many big plays. Maryland made some adjustments, and they were shut out after halftime. It's like their chances came in the first half, so they got to figure they had to figure it out then and couldn't. So big focus, big emphasis this week for Virginia throughout practices on red zone offense. Des Kitchings, the offensive coordinator, said on Tuesday they worked plays from the 10-yard line and in. On Wednesday, it was red zone and third down situations. Thursday, kind of clean it up, and the coaching staff would go through what they think worked in practice, what they think didn't work, and kind of pick their game plan from there for when they get in the red zone. But Virginia's red zone offense, it's a 41% touchdown rate right now, 5 touchdowns and 12 red zone chances. That's something they feel has to get better if they're going to be a team that wins some games throughout the rest of the season. So big emphasis for Virginia, and it's got to start today against Coastal Carolina. It won't be easy. It's a blitzing defense, tough defense for Coastal Carolina, but got to find a way to get it done, whether it's with running a football or throwing it. I think they've got some good weapons to get the ball in the end zone in the passing game, and the tight end Tyler Neville and the wide receiver Malachi Fields. But can't forget about that run game, and Xavier Brown and Kobe Pace probably need to just run the ball downhill a little more in the red zone as opposed to so much quarterback option type stuff. But we'll see, because they're going to have their chances. They've been a big play offense, and they can get down in the red zone. It's just a matter of punching the ball in.
Love the story and the perseverance of one Tyler Neville you bring up from Lafayette High School in Williamsburg, the tight end for the UVA Cavaliers. And we're talking with Greg Medea, who covers Virginia for the Daily Progress. Give him a follow. Check out his work, Daily Progress, online, also on Twitter or X, where you can see his work and his updates and links to all his stories at Greg Medea, our guest here on Cova Sports TV on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. As Virginia was 3-7 in year one under Tony Elliott, 3-9 last year, can get to 3-1 today with a victory over the unbeaten Chanticleers at Coastal Carolina. Ed.
Greg, I want to back up a little bit. We'll come back to the actual game. 2 things I want to go over with you. First of all, go back and talk about schedule. While you were talking, I pulled up the Virginia schedule. Interesting how this schedule is set up. 4 games to begin the year. let's say they get a win today. That's their 3-1 looks good. They get a bye. Time to go over that first 4 games. What do we need to fix? Because those next 4, which you already talked about, we're looking at Boston College, Louisville, Clemson, North Carolina. I mean, where are we getting a win there? Then they have another bye. And I'm thinking, if I'm football coach, this is great. I had a bye after 4 games, assess us. Now we have 4 tough games. How did we come out of that? Did we get a win somewhere? Maybe 2? Did we have no injuries? And then, boom, here comes the end of the season. And this is no cupcake. At Pitt, at Notre Dame, SMU, Virginia Tech. Now, we're talking trying to get 6 wins. And you mentioned it. Today's pivotal. That would be number 3. Then after that, they got to find 3 more in that schedule. And there's no gimmies there anywhere. So it's interesting looking at that schedule and how it's set up. And I know it just happened to be that way, where those buys are. They're keys. And I want you to assess that also, but I'm going to throw the second question at you too. How is the feeling with Tony Elliott? Coming the year 6-16, year 3 is big. Good reputation before he came in here to Virginia. Virginia's not a football power, but they're probably most like other programs. Can we get to a decent bowl game yearly? Okay, that didn't happen last year. It could be year number 2. So looking at the rest of that schedule and then assess what the feeling is with Tony Elliott.
Yeah, the schedule is when you consider that Boston College looks improved, when you consider that Pittsburgh looks improved from last year, BC with the quarterback too, and the combination of Castellanos and the new coach Bill O'Brien, it seems like it's been a good match so far, and it's going to give not only Virginia problems but other schools in the ACC problems. To me, that's what makes the schedule all of a sudden a little bit harder. You thought maybe going into the year, especially since UVA played pretty well up at BC a year ago, that they could take that game and win that game being at home. But that game looks a little bit tougher now than it did going into the year. Same thing with the Pitt game, right? Pitt was down last year. You didn't know what exactly they had at quarterback. All of a sudden, Eli Holstein, the Alabama transfer, slinging the ball all over the yard. The new OC, Kate Bell, they're pushing the ball with tempo, and it seems to be a problem. Desmond Reed, the running back's a good player too. And Narduzzi always is going to have a competitive defense. It's in his background, in his DNA. So 2 games you thought might not be the toughest of games when you consider the rest of the schedule, look a little bit harder. The SMU game, though, on the other hand, that's one a lot of people thought going into the year SMU would be a tough opponent, tough team to be reckoned with in the ACC in their first year. I wasn't sold on that, thinking the transition would be a little bit tougher. Now you throw in that they've had a quarterback mess between Preston Stone and Kevin Jennings, who's going to take over as the full-time starter. That game doesn't look nearly as difficult as it did in the beginning of the year. So that it's kind of give and take, except you're taking a little more away than you're getting when it comes to the schedule. But then you throw in the 3 of the last 4 on the road. That makes things very difficult, and that's why I consider today a very, very pivotal game for Virginia. And then to get back to your question about Tony Elliott, I think there's some grace given because of what happened in 2022. There's a setback there, the shooting on grounds that completely out of control, and the way he led the team through that. And they're still getting over that. I know people looked at last year as their year to get over it, but there's still players in the program that were teammates of those guys who died in that shooting. So I think you get probably, I know most coaches, year 3 is kind of the prove it year. I think there's a little bit more grace with Tony because of what happened and how that set his rebuild back a little bit. I think there needs to be progress, right? You can't have another 3-win season. You can't go backward in case they can't figure things out and turn it around this year. I think there needs to be progress. Can you play competitive games? Can you play competitive games in late October into November? Last year, they were 0-5 before they won their first game. The season was already over. You knew they weren't going to a bowl game. You can't have people disinterested before October hits. And that's another reason why I think today is so critical. 3-1, you keep the fan base engaged, and they're excited probably knowing that you got BC, you got Louisville on the schedule, and then you got a chance to show what you can do. And if your program's ready to take a next step and be competitive and get toward a bowl game.
Yeah, I'm with you, Greg, totally. It reminds me of a couple years back, Old Dominion had a barometer game. I want to say it was with East Carolina at home. And even though it's an out-of-conference opponent, not a Power 5, it's a group of 5 in Coastal Carolina. They've been a good program, and you mentioned it last year. They were 0-5 before they got their first win at home against William & Mary. Tell me about the recruiting ramifications, not so much specifically on prospects or targets, but yesterday UVA basketball got themselves a big commitment to Tony Bennett with the 4-star point guard from St. Anne's Belfield and Chance Mallory. On the football side of things, getting more in-state talent, some homegrown players, prospects, whether they're from Virginia or not, to get to 3-1 before those key home games after the bye week with BC and Louisville, to get that buzz back in Charlottesville. This can have a lot of impact on recruiting, can it not?
Oh, for sure. I think Tony is very good at being personal, right? The players like him. Parents love him, right? You talk to recruits and they're like, man, my mom loves Tony Elliott. And you're like, well, that makes sense. But at some point, all of that has to match the on-field product, right? Everybody understands there's a build and there's a reset following a coaching change. And then you throw in a tragedy. Like people give that some time. But at some point, it's got to match up. And what they're selling in recruiting has to match the on-field product. So to me, you got to start to win some games here. And if you're going to continue, because I think they've done a better job in state. I've heard from some high school coaches that they've heard from Virginia more under this staff and Tony Elliott compared to the previous staff, which that's a positive thing. It's all about those building a relationship. Matt, you know that better than anybody with the high school coaches in the Commonwealth. So I think that's a positive thing. But players want to play for winners. They want to have a chance to go to the NFL. And you got to start winning games in order to make players believe that's a possibility at Virginia a little more.
For sure. Last one for me. I'll let Ed finish up with you here. We thank you for the time and look forward to getting you back on the program here. Greg Medea from the Daily Progress, our guest here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. What I love about you guys that did go in-depth on the games is you always come up with a couple of neat storylines, an X factor. You got an X factor for either squad, offensively or defensively. You talked about being the key, finishing in the red zone, getting points out of those touchdowns. You got an X factor player on either side, offense or defense for us?
Yeah, Matt, you mentioned Vasco, the quarterback from Virginia, quarterback at Coastal Carolina. He's from the Commonwealth, 7'5" guy. You probably covered him in high school. Tough, physical runner. 92 rushing yards against Temple. Has to make a lot of decisions in the running game. They'll run some speed option, some triple option, and that can make things tricky for a defense if they haven't seen a ton of it. So I think the key for Virginia, got to wrap up the quarterback. They haven't seen a physical runner like him this year. I talked to some folks that said he's probably the most physical runner they've seen since Kyron Jones last year when Virginia Tech came to Charlottesville, and that didn't go well for UVA. So it's got to be, gang tackle the quarterback, get him on the ground. Coastal Carolina is like top 20 in the country in time of possession, and Vasco's a big part of that with what they do in the running game. You add in Christian Washington, the running back. Back-to-back 2-touchdown games, transfer from New Mexico. It's a tough offense to slow down. So I think getting those key stops, first, second down, set up third and longs, and give your pass rush a chance to get to the quarterback. That to me is another absolute key in this game. It was hard when you asked me, getting Vasco down or what with the offense. And for Virginia's offense, they got to score touchdowns in red zone. But the defense, it's all about slowing Vasco down. Another neat nugget with this game. Probably not much on the outcome with it, but Virginia's long snapper, Peyton Bunch, is in his first year with the Hoos after transfer from Coastal Carolina. I talked to him this week. He told me going to be a lively atmosphere here in Myrtle Beach, so should be a fun one today.
How about that, Ed? Long snapper, different team now, facing his old squad. Pretty neat little nugget there.
He's going to take some hits on that long snap. You can trust that one. He's going to take some hits. Greg, I know we got to get you out of here. You probably got to get over to that stadium.
Yep.
Just for my own sake, you've seen them play, whatever. Right now, is the offense ahead of the D's, the defense ahead of the offense? How would you assess Virginia's? And we're trying to get wins. Are we more excited when the defense is out there because we can stop them, or are we more excited with the offense getting a chance to score? I understand you got to score points and win games, but how do you set those two units?
I think the defense has been pretty steady. They need more out of their pass rush. They had 6 sacks in that Wake Forest game, but a lot of it was from designed blitzes. Only a couple of the defensive linemen have sacks, Jameer Carter and Chico Bennett. They need more pass rush without having to blitz, if that makes sense. And then on the offense, I think the offense has probably got the higher ceiling because of what they can do with big plays. You look, Anthony Calandra can sling the ball around. He's fearless with it. That'll hurt you sometimes, right? All the turnovers last week against Maryland really hurt Virginia. But when he's on, it's a tough offense to stop between Calandria, what they have at wide receiver, Malachi Fields and Trell Harris. And then on the tight end position with Neville and the slot, they're trying to get Chris Tyree going. If they can get Tyree going, and that offense gets a lot of big play possibilities. So I think there's a little bit higher of a ceiling for the offense. The defense been steady, though.
A lot of people remember Tyree from his days at Thomas Dale High School, the Notre Dame transfer back in his home state playing for the Cavaliers. He is Greg Medea. Follow his work online, Daily Progress. Enjoy the time out there in coastal Carolina, Myrtle Beach. Maybe get a few minutes of beach time when you get a chance, and we'll talk with you down the road.
And
thanks,
Greg,
guys.
My last thing is I want the Braves in over the Mets, but I promise you, if the Mets get in, I'm rooting for them to win the National League. I want the Subway Series to definitely happen.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. Hopefully the Mets have another little burst of consecutive wins in them here to finish the season so they can get in.
And one last thing. You're not getting Soto, so don't get the checkbook out.
Hey, I think it's going to be tough for him to walk from the Yankees. That's just my opinion. Anyway, guys, I got to get over there. Good to see you.
Appreciate you. That's Greg Medea with us here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. We will take a timeout and come back with more, including our NFL picks. We will do that little Barker bite, though. I want to do that too. I'll pick up 5 games on the fly here with us today on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. We thank you all for checking out Greg Medea, and we appreciate Greg for coming on. But we have another timeout to take, so let's hear from some more of the sponsors that make it possible for us, including a place where it's fan food, not fast food. You know what we're talking about, Ed? Do you know what we're talking about? Do you know?
It's got to be my DQ. Got to be.
There you go.
Get ready for a season of thrills and excitement. Virginia Beach United invites you to experience the adrenaline of USL League 2 Pro Soccer. Tickets are only $10 for adults, $7 for kids, and children 5 and under are free. It's the perfect family outing filled with fun and entertainment. Secure your seats now for a season of unforgettable soccer moments with Virginia Beach United. Don't miss out.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Bacon cheeseburger, fries, drink, and a sundae. No time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. Right now at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Now for a limited time on the $7 meal deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Ever wondered why they said you're caught between a rock and a hard place? What about being caught between a rock and an easy place? Until next visit, this is Andy Rooney for Wondering Aloud on Poolside Adventures. Let's go back to Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young on 757 Saturday Sports Talk.
And we're back with you here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Appreciate Greg Medea for spending some time with us down in Myrtle Beach to preview UVA Coastal Carolina. A lot of interesting games in college football today. Some ranked matchups across the sphere. How about James Madison, Ed, taking on North Carolina, which is where we begin our news segment. Bark or bite? Which underdogs in college football win outright or in the NFL? And we're not talking about a 1.5 point dog. We want legitimate dogs that will bark or bite. So let's start right there. Are you barking or biting with JMU as an 11-point pup, not to cover the spread, but win outright in Raleigh? It's not Drake May playing quarterback anymore for UNC. He's playing for the Patriots as the backup to Jacoby Brissett until they put him in there. Right now, the QB for UNC is Connor Harrell, sophomore from Alabaster, Alabama, who so far has thrown for 275 yards and 2 TDs with 1 interception in 3 games. But they've been running the football a lot more, 66 rushes for Omarion Hampton. Meanwhile, James Madison, new quarterback for them. And how about this? Talk about this long snapper storyline with Greg and UVA Coastal Carolina. George Pettaway, Nansemond Suffolk Academy product, running back, leading rusher for James Madison after initially signing out of high school and playing his college football with UNC. So facing the heels, can he spoil things for UNC today? Down there, and I said Raleigh or Chapel Hill. I meant Chapel Hill. I don't know where my head was.
We know what you meant.
Yeah. Glad you did.
I think JMU nips at the Tar Heels, but it's going to end up being a hard bark. I think Carolina wins it outright. JMU could cover, but we're talking about straight up win or lose. I think Carolina gets it. So I'm going to say bark.
It's a bite. JMU, the Dukes of JMU will get it done today. You heard it here first. Edward, fire up that fight song. Madison, they're going to beat UNC, who I think is a paper tiger and a semi-fraud. JMU goes to UNC, upset city, baby.
Mike Hatfield will love you now.
He will. I'll get an extra Christmas present now.
Yeah, he's going to give you good love, right? Because of you picking them, playing the fight song. He's going to be happy.
Here's what he's going to do, though. He's going to call me at about 11:45 once we get done with the podcast and ask me what channel the game is on. I'm going to tell him ACC Network, and he's going to say, "I don't have that. Daggone it." That's what he's going to. Look, you're laughing. You know it, right?
He's going to go into a rant.
Oh yeah, he's going to go Frank the Tank and start slamming the phone and going crazy.
Hey, it's like Chris Russo said, give us a chance to watch the damn thing, please, because he can't find any games on TV.
So are you a streaming guy or are you? What are you? I don't
have cable. I have streaming, and I destroyed Spectrum this week. I
See, Mike Wilbon's trying to convince Kornheiser to go with streaming as opposed to the Comcast. The thing is, I've got Fios Verizon, and they just changed our TV boxes here, and the thing is slower than my late grandma crossing the road. It's not working right, and they changed. This is why they changed the boxes. It didn't need to be changed. They wanted to change it, and it's driving me nuts. So I'm exploring on my options. YouTube TV. We're on YouTube, by the way, so you can watch us and watch the games. And I did get myself a nice little free Sunday ticket thing for the rest of the year. So I'm set up for the NFL and the red zone. I'm good there. So we'll get to some NFL Barker Bite in a second, but I got a couple more for you on Barker Bite. And we'll do our NFL picks to close out the program. This is a good one here. Georgia Tech is 3-1. You saw them win in Ireland when David Teal cautioned you, watch out, Edward, Florida State could be in trouble. 10-point favorite today. Louisville is at home. Are you taking the bark? Woof, woof, woof. Or are you going, arr? Louisville gets bit by the Yellow Jackets who have already stung. See what I did there? One ACC team.
This one is interesting. As Greg just said earlier, Louisville really hasn't played anybody real strong yet. Tech has proven himself that they're sniffing bowls.
They're what?
They're sniffing. Get it? Dogs.
Bowls. Okay, I think you said something else. It didn't sound clean with what you said. It didn't sound clean. Go ahead.
Well, understanding that you're the only one that misheard me, the rest of us will let you enjoy your laugh because I kind of know where it went, but I'm going to act like I didn't hear it. I'm going to take Georgia Tech is going to bite the Cardinals. I think they can do this one. I do. I was going to say another big nip, but I think I'm gonna go with Tech beating Louisville outright.
As is your premise simply because you feel like Louisville defensively is going to have trouble with that power run game in Georgia Tech? I don't see it. I think Haynes King will not make enough plays for them in the passing game to beat Louisville, and I think Louisville will get out to a lead and I wouldn't say coast, but take care of business. I will go. This is bark. This is bark, not bite. Give you one or two more on the college, and we'll do the pro. Bark or bite, staying in the ACC. We're staying all ACC for the moment. Rutgers, Virginia Tech. Scarlet Knights are 3.5-point road dogs in Blacksburg. Bark or bite. Rutgers to knock off Virginia Tech. They're not in Piscataway, I should say. Kyron Drones and the Hokies looked good last week against Old Dominion. Pulled away in the second half. Had a couple hiccups in the first half, but Rutgers, last 5 games, they've beaten Akron, Howard, the bowl game with Miami. Before that, they lost to Maryland and Penn State a year ago, but they're trying to get to 3-0. What do you think? Bark or bite?
Bark. Rutgers not beating Virginia Tech.
Rutgers is not beating Virginia Tech.
No, I think Tech takes them down.
Ed, I hate to do it to our beloved Commonwealth, but who do the Hokies play in 6 days in Coral Gables?
That'd have to be Miami.
That's right, because they're in Coral Gables. And we know that the Rutgers head football coach, Greg Schiano, who's got a pro background. He coached in the NFL, not so much successfully with the Buccaneers, but I know they got some stuff swirling around off the field. The president, by the way, Jonathan Holloway, is stepping down after the school year, but I think he keeps them locked in and focused on football. This type of team I think can go on the road and do some big things. They're a small underdog. I think Rutgers is just as physical as Virginia Tech. I'm sorry, Hokies fans, but I'm going – it's the classic look-ahead game to Miami next week. I think they get bit. I do. Bark or bite? One more college football, then we'll go to the NFL, then we did NFL picks for you. Bark or bite, Edward? And this is an interesting one on bark or bite. Oklahoma, the Sooners, tonight in prime time on ABC. A 6.5-point home dog in Norman. When has that ever happened? To Tennessee. Tuxedo, the Volunteers have been just sizzling on offense. Have the Tennessee Volunteers. Tennessee's offense, 71 on Kent State, 51 on NC State, 69 on Chattanooga. Bark or bite, Oklahoma as a home dog. Does Oklahoma have the defense? That's the question. You know, it's the question when Lincoln Riley was there. It's the question now when the DC under Lincoln Riley, now the head coach Brent Venables is there. Is Oklahoma's defense good enough? Well, they squeaked by Houston 16-12, then beat Tulane 34-19. What do you think?
This is a devastating bite. Sooners knock off the 7th-ranked Vols of Tennessee. I think Oklahoma will do it. I know it's not the Oklahoma of the past and all that, but I think it's set up prime time. I think it's going to be a raucous crowd. I think they'll be into this game. It's going to be Tennessee's toughest game to this point. It could be one of those games where things just don't go right, and that's because Oklahoma is causing that issue. If not, you're looking at a 40-something to 40-something game if Oklahoma's defense doesn't do something. But I'm going for the bite on this one, Oklahoma.
Well, I tell you what has me a little concerned. Second straight week, Tennessee is going to be down one of their key offensive linemen, and that is Lance Hurd. On the road here without Lance Hurd, left tackle for them. I'm a little worried about that. I'm going to take the chance, though, and disagree with you again for the fourth game in a row we've disagreed on. I'm going to say it's bark, but this is a dangerous one. I would tell you this, for those who put shekels down, I would take the 6.5 points. I think it's too many, but I think Tennessee ekes it out on a field goal late. I just think they have more ways behind their quarterback, Mr. Nico, to get it going. And I think defensively, Tennessee might be a little bit more underrated than people realize. So I think they'll come up with a timely third down stop, get a key takeaway, something like 31-28, 34-30, 27-23. I think the Vols eke it out, but that line's a little high for me, a little too high for my liking. NFL, bark or bite. You want to squeeze in 2 here? You got time for 2? You want to do one more? What do you want to do?
Go ahead, let's put them in. We got time. Let's do it.
Put them in. Here we go. Bark or bite. We've had the last 2 weeks, the biggest favorites on the board go down. Biggest favorite on the board was the biggest favorite on the board in week 1. That's the Cincinnati Bengals. We have that fight song. I wish we did. Mean and Angry at home Monday night, part of a Monday night double dip. You got on ESPN Jags and Bills, and then you have on ABC, ESPN Plus, Cincinnati playing host. Cincinnati playing host to Washington. Bengals trying to avoid 0-3. The Commanders at 1-1. What do you think? Bark or bite? Washington trying to spring the upset with Jane Daniels, the rookie quarterback from LSU. LSU taking on UCLA today against Joe Burrow. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins is back, and James Carville's Bengals. Cincinnati. What do you think, Coach?
Cincinnati's favored by how much?
Favored by 7 against my Bengals. James Carville. What do you think? What do you think, Coach? That a bad James Carville impersonation? That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not good.
Not good.
Well, it's not bad, but
all right. Not bad. Not the best. Come aboard, T-Boy.
And the Redskins.
You can't say that. Shame.
The Commanders will show a lot of bark. They're not biting the Bengals.
Bark?
The Bengals are tailor-made to do all the ripping apart. And I think they will take – I think it'll be a close game. I think probably by the spread, I would go with Washington, but I think Bengals win outright.
So you think that the Commanders will be –
pathetic, putrid, awful.
Is that what you think?
Not that bad. I wouldn't give them putrid, awful.
Will they be?
This team is pathetic, putrid, heartless, gutless.
No,
they're not going to be that much either, no.
All right. I'm going to go with Cincinnati. I think it's all bark as well. One more dog I want to throw out there for you. This is an interesting one. A lot of guys banged up. Niners and Rams. Bark or bite. Rams, 6.5-point dog. No Cooper Kupp. No Puka. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. Yeah, give me the dog look. That's what a dog does when he hears something on TV that goes a little look. The Niners, McCaffrey's banged up. Samuel, no George Kittle. What do you think? Bark or bite? Game is in L.A. Could San Francisco fall to 1-2? And if they don't, that means the Rams, Sean McVay's team, just 3 seasons removed from a Super Bowl, could go to 0-3.
I think this is bark. I don't think Rams take them down. They have a little bit more problems with injuries than the 49ers do. It seems like the 49ers can figure it out. I'm not sure the Rams have yet with those injuries. I'm kind of shocked that if it does happen, they're 0-3. Some people even pick the Rams to win that division over San Francisco. I'm going bark. 49ers will win it.
Bite. I think the Rams win this game. They're at home. Even without the receivers, they find a way. I think San Francisco is so beat up. I think that Sean McVay is going to go to work here, get the running game more incorporated. And I feel like San Francisco right now is just not in there. And again, Brock Purdy could have a rough game here. You know, he's what do they say? The bloom is off the rose, something like that. He's not as
smell is off the rose.
Yeah, there you go. Something like that. That's what they say.
And the key thing with that too is Brock Purdy is good.
He's good
because of those around him.
Right.
So
he doesn't have to win the game. I could see them they could make him have to win the game. They could make him have to win the game.
That's what scares me is Brock Purdy is, everybody talked about him being the Mr. Irrelevant. How's he becoming this great quarterback? He's on the right team with the right people around him, and he's doing what he needs to do. Now he's losing some of those weapons, which makes him much more important. Does he start playing out of his limitations? That could be a problem.
Bloom is off the rose. I'm telling you, he's not as exciting and fresh and new as he once was when he took the Niners to the Super Bowl unexpectedly as the golden boy, if you will. He's not Joe Montana. All right, one more segment to go. It's been a fun one here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Don't forget, we've got more high school football talk coming your way with On the Hash with Hatfield next week. We had on Barrington Morrison of Bruton. Shout-outs to them. They got themselves a win over Northumberland, 42-12. So we'll go through some of the big wins that Bruton had. Obviously, some other teams around the 757 getting some big wins, the likes of Oscar Smith and Green Run and Salem, by the way, quietly undefeated. They're doing well. Maury keeps rolling. They're just cruising along. Kings Fork still unblemished. We'll go through some other storylines as well and some key games on the docket, including that Lafayette-Smithfield game next week of intrigue too. But when we return, we have the NFL picks for a week number 3. Yours truly, trying to get his first one of the season, Bruce Pearl and Coach Young. It's all coming your way next right here on Cova Sports TV. But, Edward, we have another timeout to take, and it's our last one of today's show. And when we come back, we'll have the picks. So do your studying, do your praying. I'm doing my wishing and hoping because I can't go 0-9. I would be disheveled, beside myself.
You'd be fired. But we'd have to bench you and put some. I asked last night, the loyal audience and viewers on my Hats Hits IG special to help me out. Please give me a couple tips. Nobody gave me any tips. Well, part of that is most people don't like you, so they're not going to help you.
That's not true.
Oh, you don't know what I hear.
Oh,
I'm
you don't know what I hear.
I'm fighting off dragons and monsters about when people come to me and say, "What's wrong with that Hatfield dude? I got a bone to pick with Hatfield and all this." I got to put out fires for you like crazy because
that's not true.
We do need you for the show, so I try to.
I'm lovable. I'm like a teddy bear. Come on.
Yeah, one of those ones they pull apart.
Man, you don't pull teddy bears apart.
You know me. I'm just real. I'm being, as the kids say, I'm being real because
you're not being real.
You go out there and take a deep breath and smell the fresh air and might have gunshots come over. I got to be careful.
Hey, that's not nice. Well, we're going to take one more time out and come back with the NFL picks with yours truly right there and this guy. Ugh. It's all coming back right here on Cova Sports TV. And sometimes you go all the way high up in the sky with a pizza pie.
I'm getting dizzy just looking at it. Oh, my God. I had nightmares for 3 nights. I thought I kept hitting my head on the light.
Oh, stop it. You whine too much. We'll be back in
I'm telling you, I got new focus, new love for people that can sit up there. And the Raider fans were jumping around.
How do you fly in an airplane?
Sit in the seat on the aisle, look
but
straight
you're up
ahead.
higher. You're up higher.
I don't look down. Since I got this vertigo, I'm not even sure I could fly now because the other day, was it going to Baltimore? We went over one of those bridges up high. I'm driving, and I didn't move. I don't think I had a breath come out of me because I can't look over the edges now. That vertigo is something real.
Go to one of the stores, get one of the, I got my little air shocks. Get the air shocks, put them right there, and pop in Neil Diamond's "Don't Look Down," and you'll be all right. Don't look down.
When I'm driving, I got to put something over my eyes so I won't have to look down.
Don't look down. Go punch it up. We'll be back. Picks coming your way next in the NFL, the league where they play for pay on Cova Sports TV.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 meal deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina,
We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better. And it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
Get ready for the Neptune Bowl presented by DoubleTree by Hilton on November 23rd, 2024 at the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. Tailgating starts at 10 a.m. Grab your passes for just $50. Gates open at 12:30 with kickoff at 2 p.m. Advance tickets are only $20 or $25 at the gate on game day. College football only comes to Virginia Beach once a year. Visit beachsportsplex.com to learn more today and secure your spot.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we're back here. NFL picks for week number 3 here on Cova Sports TV. Glad you've been tuned into us all morning long, wherever you may be watching on YouTube with Cova Sports TV. Hit that subscribe button, that like button. You'll get notifications when we go live, and all of our podcasts and programming, including live sporting events such as football, field hockey, lacrosse, soccer, and so much more. VirginiaPreps.com, Apple, Spotify, IG, Facebook, Twitter, all over the web. It is time now, Evan, for the picks. And the pick standings are just so disgusting. Oh,
atrocious.
You know what they are? I'll tell you what they are. I'll tell you exactly what they are. They are really, to use a Frank the Tank, they are just absolutely.
Wait a minute. This was last week's picks.
Yes.
It's not a running total, because running total would be 2 weeks.
Oh, but I'm sorry. That was 2 weeks ago's picks. We have the wrong graphic up, so we have to give you.
I went
Here it is. That was 2 weeks. There it is. There's the update. That's what it was from week 1. That's what it is after week 2. It is just
wow.
You got the dog barking. You wanted to play bark or bite, but it is just.
This team is pathetic, putrid, heartless, gutless, pathetic, putrid, awful.
That's how bad the picks have been. So
yeah, Frank the Tank would definitely have a heart attack over this mess.
Yeah, it's bad. So let's get to it because it is not good. You were bad. I was bad. Bruce was not good, and Bruce said it best. If he stunk and sucked, it was good to know that he didn't stink and suck alone. It was everybody else stinking up the joint. So let's get to it here, and we'll show you Bruce's first here, and then You want to go first or I go first? I don't even know who we both went 0 first, so I'm not sure who goes. You want to go first? Oh,
yeah, because I won the week, so I go first.
We didn't win the week. We both went 0 for. None of us won anything. We all stunk it up.
Oh, that's a push then.
I've got a couple that I like. I wanted to. Can I count the Jets? I had the Jets of the night. That was one of my picks.
No, because I'd still go first because we revert back to overall standings, and I got you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, whatever you say. By the way, Chuck Clark. What do you have? 6-7 tackles. He had Kings Fork for the Jets in that game. Also in that game, you had Jalen Holmes get some pressure on the quarterback. Looked really good. Good. We got some 7-5-7 guys doing it up big in the NFL. And how about Patrick Jones of the Vikings? Knicks Vikings. We had him on in the summertime from Grassfield. He's second in the league in sacks right now behind Aiden Hutchinson of the Lions. Good stuff there, Patrick. PJ getting it done. All right, let's show you
Grassfield, right? Jones played at Grassfield.
Right. We went out there. Yeah, we had him on in the summertime. You remember when I was up there at VA Live, or we had the interview we did with him. All right, here's Bruce's picks for week 3. Dissect them for me, Ed. What do you think?
He's got Cleveland, taking Cleveland a -6.5. Cleveland is playing Houston. That's a tough game.
No, they're not playing Houston. That's incorrect. They're playing the Giants.
Oh, yeah. That's easy pick. I don't see the Giants doing anything in there. Tampa Bay -6. Tampa Bay is playing.
And Knicks and the Broncos in the Sunshine State.
Yeah, I can agree with that one. I think that's a good one. Now, he took my number one pick, Vegas -6 against Carolina.
Well, they were up for grabs when you decided to leave. You left. You didn't stay. You couldn't deal with the heights. So Bruce is going sky high for Vegas to beat Carolina. This is more so than Bruce's confidence in the Browns with Bethel grad Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, the Bucks, and the Raiders as it is. I think it's a play against the Broncos, the Giants, and the Panthers. Good thinking there, Bruce. Very shrewd. I know what you're up to. That's where he went with these picks. That's what he did.
Yeah, but I now you said we can't take his picks, so I can't take.
No. We can take one. You can be a copycat. We can't take each other's. So if you only get one, you can't take multiple. You can take one.
Give me my first pick. Give me Vegas -6 over.
Well, we knew you'd be a copycat. So Bruce is going to blame you if it goes up in flames, as he should. If it wins, I'm going to say you were a copycat and a cheater, which is what you are. You lie if you can, you steal if you must, but you always cheat. In honor of the late great Tony Mysterio, had that line years ago. He came up with it best, and Tony had you in mind when he came up with that line. Lie if you can, steal if you must, but always cheat. That's what Ed Young does. So Ed's first selection is the Raiders -6. But in him doing that, he leaves the door ajar for me, which I like because I'm going to go here now with the pick. And I'm going to go to start here on Monday Night Football, the Bengals -7 against the Commanders. I think they thump them. I think this is a blowout. I do not see this being a competitive, close football game. Sorry, Washington fans. I do think that the Bengals will bounce them pretty easily. Something like 32-14, 28-13, 21-10. What I do not want, Ed, is a backdoor Washington cover where the Bengals are up 24-14 and Washington gets a last-second touchdown to make it 24-21 and I lose bad beat like I did last week. For those that want to hear the awful picks we had last week, here they are again, just for all your pleasure out there, ladies and gents. Edward on the picks last week. We had Dallas -6.5. They got spanked by the Saints. Tennessee plus the 3.5. How'd that work out for you against Green Bay? Not too well, even with Malik Willis, the former. Actually, they didn't play Tennessee, did they? It was Tennessee and Green Bay, right? Yeah. No, they didn't play this week. I'm sorry. Tennessee, you had Tennessee plus the 3.5, and that was a loser because they lost to the Jets 24-17. And you had the Lions -7.5. They lost outright at home to the Bucks despite outgetting them big. Bruce had Carolina plus 4.5. That was a loser. They lost 26-3 to the Chargers, who, by the way, could be starting either Easton Stick or Taylor Heineke at quarterback if Justin Herbert can't play this week. Baltimore -8.5. We know about them losing to the Raiders 26-23. And he had the Niners minus the 5.5, who lost in Minnesota to Nick Sinti's Vikings 23-17 with Patrick Jones leading that defensive charge. I had over 40 Colts and Packers. That was dead from the start. 16-10 Green Bay with Malik Willis beating Indy. That's what I was thinking. Houston -6.5. 19-10. They're getting ready to score a touchdown. They fumble. Bears get a field goal. They get the ball back, in fact, too. 19-13. Hold on for dear life to win, but they don't cover. And I had Seattle -3.5 against the Pats. 23-20 in overtime. Should be 3-3, not 0-6. So my first pick was Cincy -7 since Ed took Vegas -6, which I was looking hard at. I will then adjust. We adjust on the show on the fly. That's how we roll here. I can't take the Jets retroactively. Looking hard at Pittsburgh. Looks pretty attractive. Looks pretty good there. But I'm going to go with an over-under. We were just talking about the Niners-Rams game. And you got a lot of guys beat up in that game. I don't see a lot of points being scored in that game. The over-under is 43.5. Give me under 43.5. LA Rams, San Francisco. You tell me who's scoring touchdowns. All these guys hurt. I think it's under. I think it's at the most 6 touchdowns, or it might be 4 or 5 touchdowns and some field goals. I think we'll go under 43.5. So that's the first 2. You're up for your next and last 2 for today.
I like that under. I like that. I was looking at that under also because of key guys for both teams out that can score.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. I'm going to step into your territory, though. I said I would jump on their bandwagon this year until they prove me wrong. Now I'm starting to get a little nervous, but I'm going to go with them one more week. Give me the Lions -3 over your Cardinals, who are dangerous. and they finally got Marvin Harrison the ball, and they're going to keep doing that. So Detroit needs to really concentrate on Mr. Harrison Jr., or it could be another disaster for the Lions, who lost to the Bucs last week, which I didn't see coming. Okay. So give me that one. And I don't know why everybody is putting money, faith, and joy. Falcons knocking off the Chiefs.
Oh, no, running back Isaiah Pacheco's out. That's a big, and they don't have Kareem Hunt active this week. KC was very fortunate to win the first 2 games over Baltimore and Cincinnati. They're not playing the AFC North anymore. They're playing the Dirty South in the ATL, Hot Atlanta.
Okay. I'm going with the Chiefs -3. I'm going to go against the grain. And I think they'll somehow still do it. They still have enough weapons out there. I think they'll do it.
Okay. You're going to go with the Chiefs?
I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
Or are you going to go with the Chefs? You seen that commercial, right? Where they leave off the Chefs?
Yeah, good job. Who are the Chefs?
Who's the Chefs? So, Ed, in honor of Derek Nottie, the defensive lineman.
That's another reason I want him.
Ocean Links. That's why I said that. I'm just trying to make you feel with some 757 VA flavor here. You're going to go with the Chiefs. And I'm with you, Anthony Bateman. I'm with you, my man. I like Atlanta to cover all day. Should I go head-to-head on Ed with him? You know what? We haven't done this in a while. Go checker on a checker. That means somebody's going to win a game because we both can't lose unless we push. Then we still, we don't win. We don't lose.
Yeah, it's true.
I was, just because of you, Coach Bateman, he says yes. And by the way, they got themselves a win last night. Mecklenburg County beating Central Lunenburg. So they're 3-1 going into district play. Good win for you guys. Just because of you, Coach. Now, I'm going to blame you, Coach, if they don't get it done. I got faith in the Falcons. I got them in some preseason picks, by the way. A lot of different things outside of this show. They're story for our time. But just because of that, I got faith in you, Kirk Cousins. You squashed your primetime demons. Can he win 2 in a row? The Eagles and the Chiefs? I'm telling you right now, I'm used to getting blamed for stuff. Yeah, that's right. All you coaches are used to that. Ed knows how that feels. You guys get blamed for that stuff. Give me the Falcons. Why not? Plus the 3. I'm getting 3 points as a home pup. And KC is due to lay an egg. I don't care if Taylor Swift shows up or if Travis Kelce shows up. And sorry, Derek Nottie. Still got mad love for you. But I was going to take, full disclosure, I was not going to take that one. My pick was going to be Houston -2 in Minnesota. But it made Nick mad. But I won't take that one. We'll see if I regret it later. And I'll go with Bengals -7. Falcons plus the 3 to go head up with Ed's pick of the Chiefs -3 and under 43.5 with Rams and Niners. Ed's got Detroit -3 to go with KC -3 and Vegas -6, while Bruce is going with the Browns laying the 6.5, the Bucks laying the 6, and Vegas -6. All really picks against the Panthers, Broncos, and Giants. And that's going to conclude today's episode of the program. That's exactly what I said. They were a few plays away from 0-2. Totally right. They that pass interference call against the Bengals, and if the guy gets his feet in the back of the end zone on primetime Thursday night against KC, Lamar Jackson is the hero. They might go for 2, win the game, or they go to overtime. So there you have it. That's going to conclude today's episode. Again, we got more high school football talk next week on the show, our final Saturday of September 2024 episode on the Hash with Hatfield later this week. Hit that subscribe button for all the great things that Cova Sports TV and our entire crew are bringing you. Edward, it's been a lot of fun. I've got an anniversary with my folks to celebrate, number 49 to them. And I'm sure you got a busy weekend. No trips to Baltimore, right? You're staying in at 757? Maybe not?
Yeah, the 757. I went to the Maxwell concert last night at the Hampton Coliseum. And there's some Maxwell is an icon in the music industry. Put on another great show, along with Jasmine Sullivan, who's a little crazy. She's the one that made the song years ago, I Bust the Windows Out Your Car. She got some anger issues. And the new guy on the scene, October London, a new modern version of Marvin Gaye. So I saw a great concert last night. And tonight I've got someplace to go in the 757 for some laughs. We'll leave
you're going to a comedy club. Well, real quick before we sign off. Okay, go ahead.
And also, middle of the week, I got out of my comfort zone and went to I'm going to mention their name only because I think we got something behind the scenes working. The Stretch Zone, Virginia Beach. The dude stretched me out. Joe Reyes, Yep, Joe stretched me all over the place here, there, and boy, I felt good for about 3 days. Now I'm all tight again, but I'm trying to talk him into getting a little bit of sponsorship, and they will stretch us out. And they said tell Hatfield to come and we'll stretch him out. And I told him exactly what to do. So I'm hoping this can happen.
I've been stretched a lot lately.
They're going to try to stretch both of your arms around your mouth and then tie your hands. I can't wait to see it.
You're a funny guy. We got some special guests coming, baseball players around the corner for major leagues. We've got Jeff Jones, the former ODU basketball coach we had on a couple months back. He's going to come on with us probably in October. And I ran into last week at Virginia Wesleyan, one of your former players that wants to come on one of these days, BJ Jenkins, former Green Run stand-up, played at Liberty and Murray State.
Oh, yeah.
You better watch all the time. I told him to check us out on YouTube. I actually got him to subscribe to the Cova Sports TV page. So hopefully he's watching today or he's watching another day. We'll get him on the show one of these days. So all kinds of people, a lot of surprises and neat things in the works. And maybe we'll do some shows on the go again. So there you have it.
By the way, speaking of baseball playoffs, I put a message into Timmy Kirchin, and he's going to look. I told him we'd like to try to get him as early as next week, or definitely the Saturday in October, right when the playoffs start, so we can get his.
Yeah, whenever his schedule allows. I know he's very busy with travel and such. And, so we'll definitely.
But he did say he will come on. So it's just a matter of getting the date.
Yep, sounds good. As always, interact with us, hit that subscribe button, and we'll talk to you next Saturday right here on Cova Sports TV on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Enjoy your sports weekend, everyone. Talk to you later.